You're listening to the Halloween episode of Operation Babble. Enjoy. Ugh. Fuck it.
It's Operation Babble with Myke Shrews. It's pop culture, music, movies, TV too. It's time to explore life. It's Operation Babble time.
Stay in the light, Michael. Stay in the light.
Hey, John, I got a quote. Hey, guys.
What?
Welcome to the Halloween edition of Operation Babble.
Don't welcome them. Send them back out. Go eat your candy.
For a quote for this season, it's from Dr. Loomis
Mr. Loomis.
from
Mr.
Halloween.
Tumnus.
As follows. I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. Dun, dun, dun. So, John.
That's so me.
Just so everybody knows, because, John, you're not really like a huge horror fanatic, correct?
Yeah, not really. I like the idea. A lot of times I'll watch gamers play like scary stuff because I'm just a gigantic wuss bag.
Like, what type of scary games?
Emily Wants to Play. It's like this creepy one about like toys that come after you, or like dolls, and like, there's like a clown puppet and stuff. And you have to like, it was a VR game, and like, so I'd watch a lot of people play that, and and the monsters. You know, nowadays a lot of the horror games have like those. They Five Nights at Freddy's you, where it's like
the FNAF shit.
The thing jumps at you in first person and freaks you out, jump scare style.
All the jumps.
Yeah, and it's like, I know for a fact I could never do VR. I would just piss myself. And so like I'll watch that, or like people play like Outlast or other stuff like that, and I can't bring myself to do it because it's just so engaging that like I already can barely stand movies. So I'm like, I'm gonna have a freaking heart attack one of these days. And but I understand, like, Hannah really likes to watch them, so we always watch like 1 or 2 a week during October, and she likes to laugh while I go, ah! And she just laughs at me. And but I have my slew of favorites. Like, don't get me wrong, like if people like talk about it and it's like really good, I'll take a look at them. Like, I've watched like House on Haunted Hill and
now, like, of the whole genre, what would you say is like your niche in that genre?
The one I would pick.
Like you have like slasher, you know, the creepy like Saw type stuff.
I like supernatural shit. Like
supernatural,
I like ghosts and ghouls and stuff like that. Like,
now, are you more paranormal activity type supernatural, or like
either?
You need ghosts
honest.
and stuff.
Like, because I can work with like demons and like spiritual creepy and like actual like Slender Man type creepy. Like,
don't fucking
like
watch that movie. Don't
that movie's
people
terrible.
don't go watch Slender Man. Just
pretty funny.
don't do that.
Like the one It Follows seemed like a really cool concept, and I'd watched a little bit of that, and the movie wasn't particularly great, but I liked the premise. And then there was what was it, Babadook and stuff like that. Like, but don't get me wrong, like I'll watch like a Friday the 13th or like Nightmare on I love Nightmare on Elm Street because I love the
about creature features.
Creature features I'll do for funsies, just because it's like, it's like a B movie, and that's the kind of stuff Hannah gravitates to. Like, you know, but I mean, dude, it's hard to beat like super classics like The Thing or The Fly or like, you know, shit like that. That's like stuff that people obviously consider to be really well done.
Now, which Fly?
The first one.
The original. Well, that's not the original.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's the one. But that's the one I saw. So
yeah.
So
that was the cool one. The original one, like the dude legit had like a fly head and shit.
Okay. It was done Baxter Stockman.
Yeah. I think it was like in the 50s or something. I think it was black and white.
Yeah.
1958. Yeah.
Slasher stuff and like sorry to throw the term out there, but like torture porn stuff, like I'm not like super down. Like the first Saw is really cool, like because it messes with your head and it's creepy and I like the premise.
I would say after the second Saw is when they start getting more into like more torture-y shit.
Mm-hmm. And like Final Destination's kind of the same. It went from like, here's this creepy concept to, all right, what's the most ridiculous thing we can do?
Yeah.
And you know, it kind of perverts the cool artistic part of it.
With those movies too, like with the Final Destination specifically, because like the first one was just epic. Like I loved it. I love
the first one.
Everyone loved it. I mean, hell, they even had the Candyman. Well, the Candyman is in all of them. Mm-hmm. I forget the actor's name.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, but with the first one, it was awesome because they didn't like really glorify the deaths as much. Yeah. As when they went along, you could see the advent of more CG effects being added into it, so they glorified it a lot more. Because I mean, in the first one, you get Sean William Scott gets his head cut off by a freaking piece of metal just from the train, just like randomly. Yeah. It's like, but they didn't like stay on there or nothing. It just happens, and that
fucked me up too. That was the kill that fucked me up in the theater. It was that one and the coffee mug. I think it was the teacher, because it was like it got hot and then it got cold and then cracked.
Yeah.
Bro, that fucked me up forever. I'm not kidding. I don't do high temperature stuff now anymore. Like like big drastic changes. Like I'm very well aware of like.
That's the one where she sat it on the TV. The TV blew up and then like some knife or some shit. Yeah.
I think it was a chunk of the.
Was it supposed to be a chunk of the TV?
I think it was either that or a knife. I can't remember, but I just remember that like exploding because it was like it went from like hot to cold or cold to hot or whatever.
Yeah.
And it fucked me up, and I was like, "Fucking science!" I was like, "No!" So now every time I was in the kitchen, you know, it's like that fucked up shit like Jaws. It was like, you know, I'm going to a pool and I'm worried about a shark. Like it's in the back of my head. It's like
the one that always got me was, I think it was the second movie. With the semi that had the fucking logs that fell off.
That fucked everybody up.
I still to this day am like, fuck this.
Yep, I will not drive behind one anymore. And by the way, Candyman's real name is Tony Todd.
Yeah, Tony Todd.
So,
which he's doing something coming up. I don't remember.
He's doing all kinds of. He does all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
he's actually still pretty sought after.
Yeah.
No, I always tell people it's like. The first Final Destination's the good one. The second one had the most memorable deaths, because that's when they started getting into like it was kind of like what the hell are those puzzles called, like where you drop the marble and then it goes knocks down some dominoes and then clicks this thing and does that.
I know what you're talking about. They do it with like bars and shit all the time to like pour your drink and stuff. Yeah.
So
3 did it really good with that stuff though.
But that, like I said, once you got into like 2 and then all the other ones, that's kind of what it turned into. And then I'd seen that the last one kind of came back to form, and then they do this huge spoiler for, I think it was number 5, pretty much the last one's been made, is that they connected the universe.
Yeah, they connected all of them again.
Yeah, like 5 you didn't know, you were just watching it, and then 5 turned out to be a prequel. Because then the people ended up on the plane that exploded in the first one, which I was like, fucking blew my mind, dude. I was like, because they don't set it up. Like, you don't see it coming, and it's just like, here's a special little universe connector. And I loved that. That was fucking great.
They were all supposed to be connected anyways. They were all connected because of Tony Todd's character within them anyways, because he was always like... For some fucking reason, he was always in the city of these people that this shit was happening to as something, you know? Oh, he played the voice of Zoom. That's right. In The Flash.
Yes. God, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like after, like, especially more with the sequels, they get more bloodier. I mean, the same thing happened with Friday the 13th. The first one, the original one, you never actually see the killer until the end, which is, it turns out, spoilers, is Jason's mom. You know? And then the second Friday the 13th, Jason isn't even wearing the hockey mask till like the third movie, because he's wearing a potato sack in the second one. And yeah.
Yeah.
But you were saying something about Nightmare on Elm Street.
I just like well with Nightmare on Elm Street, I really liked the dream aspect of it. That's what made it neat.
Yeah.
It was I liked the idea of it was just something. It was something different for the time. Like it was something creepy that literally
he was Deadpool before Deadpool was created.
Sure. I was just talking more on the creepiness factor of the idea that somebody could come at you literally at your most vulnerable when you're sleeping. It's like, and it's something that you have to do, like you physically have to do. So I loved that kind of like running clock, if it were like the countdown constantly, because it's like a lot of the movies, the premise is stay awake, try and stay awake, do what you can, and it's like either you die in real life from exhaustion, or now you have to go face him, and so you have to figure out a way to defeat him.
You fell asleep at the
otherwise
wheel and you bam.
I love shit like that. Like it gives this extra high tension that you can relate to.
I feel that's one reason that the second Nightmare on Elm Street just sucked ass, because they didn't really do a whole lot with the dream state stuff, and you never really saw Freddy till the super end of that movie anyways. And it was more of like a possession thing, like he was possessing a person to come into the real world. It was horrible. So like, you know, I just want people to get more of a feel of where you're at with like the horror genre stuff, because for Halloween, people expect you know to talk about real horror shit.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen a lot. I mean, all the classics I've seen: Halloween, First Nightmare on Elm Street, all the Friday the 13th.
What'd you think of? Did you ever watch Jason X? I don't consider that a horror movie. I consider that like a sci-fi.
That was just
thriller.
the big. That was Jason X the one in space.
Yeah.
Then I saw part of it. It was one of those ones that you just kind of turned on in the background and just watched everybody make silly mistakes and get killed in weird ways, and
it kind of loosely reminded me of Doom. It kind of reminded me of Doom a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I could give you that. A fucking creepy space one. Have you ever seen Event Horizon? Had a Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. That one had an imagery thing. Like I think he was like looking in the mirror and like his face was getting all fucked up and shit. Fuck, it stuck with me for years. That was one of those movies that like I think I was way too young to have seen, and then it just fucked me up for a little while.
Yeah.
And then, but luckily I finally got it out of my brain because, dude, this is fucking pissing me off that I cannot. I'm so retarded that I'm going on Google trying to figure out what the fuck those puzzle thingies were I'm talking about.
I was wondering what the heck you're.
Dude, because I've been on my phone ever since I talk about it. I feel really bad that I'm like not like giving you eye contact and engaging, but god damn it, dude, it's pissing me off. I'm literally like looking up like intricate puzzle fucking maze thing. It's making me mad. It's making me so mad, and you know there's somebody listening just like screaming at me going, it's the Oppenheimer puzzle, man, duh, you should have known that. God damn it. Sure, Labyrinth puzzle, I'll go with that. That's so not it, but I'm so mad right now. Anyway,
they did a really cool one. I know what you're talking about, because they did a really cool one. I think it was in the credits of Waiting with Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That had on the bar wall. Yep. Yep. I'm gonna ask fucking Mahoney because he's a nerd. If he doesn't know, then I'll ask Hannah. Anyway, continue. I'll be doing this in the background for you.
All right. So we both watched some movies, correct?
Yes. Please don't be mad at me. I could not finish Banana Splits. I fell asleep. I got to the part where the kids were like doing like the Double Dare like maze thing where they were like running through the goo.
Okay.
The obstacle course or whatever.
So you didn't even get to the part where things started happening.
No, all I saw was the red eye, the red eyes on like the dog or something, like the weird mechanic guy was like combing the hair on the dog, and then the eyes like they did the corny shot where the red eyes turned on, and then they like moved the camera so you could see him through his sunglasses. I was like, oh god. And I started Yeah, I was falling asleep so hard. 'cause,
Damn, dude, that was gonna be our like most like newest horror movie we were gonna talk about too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Because that's from
I mean,
it's from this year. It just came out
yeah.
this year. Yeah.
Well, it's essentially just a cheap Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's a Five Nights at Freddy's that's based around like the original Banana Splits show from the 60s and 70s, late 60s. Because it's a real thing. Like, we're real characters,
Yeah, it's like
which is kind of funny.
It's like, just fucking going back to Chuck E. Cheese and Chucky
Yeah.
wants to murder you.
Right.
Not the doll, the big mechanic mouse. Also not Mickey.
Except in real life, the Banana Splits only got 2 seasons. They didn't go for like decades,
Yeah,
like
right?
they did in the movie.
I like that premise. I think it's neat. The only thing with that show is like you can obviously tell it's shot really cheap.
It's
like, it looks
really
like
cheap shot, yeah.
It was like shot on like DSLRs and like the mechanics are just
Oh,
like
yeah.
dudes in mascot suits but knowing that going in makes it fun. And if you like Five Nights at Freddy's, the fucking video
Yeah.
game, that's something to watch. It's definitely for fun.
My kids watched the movie.
Surprisingly,
So-
the kid actors are not terrible.
No, it's the
My-
adult actors that are terrible.
They're fucking awful, man. Like, don't get me wrong, the kids aren't like they're not fucking Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense
Yeah.
or anything, but like, God, you can get some really fucking shit kid actors.
The main like kid actor in that though,
Yeah,
he's just like your generic like scary movie type kid.
Yeah.
He just the way he talks and all that shit.
I laughed because I remember looking over at Hannah when we started it, and there's the scene where the kid's blowing out his birthday candles, and the brother gives him his present, and I go, oh, well, somebody's getting stabbed with that by the time this movie is
Right.
over. Like, and it was so obvious too because they like hand it to him and he like holds it up and like
They make that
until-
sound effect.
and they make the fucking stupid sound effect, and I'm just sitting there like, oh god, so this is the ride I'm in for.
It's all right. They make that sound effect every time he pulls it
Oh,
out.
and I'm sure,
just to
and it's just
like fuck with you.
well, and it's funny because you'd laugh because in real life you'd go, no, you can't have that. You're gonna poke your fucking eye out with that. You
And the
dumb-
thing's
Why would you
super
give him that?
sharp, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like on like an umbrella thing because it comes
Yeah.
out so fast.
It's literally made to like, oh, here you go, Timmy, a stabbing device that you can stab someone from distance by accident if you need be. And so I was like, okay, this is what we're in for. So let's roll. So it sets your standards pretty accordingly, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna finish it just because of I'm like just the goofy B movie aspect of it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a huge Five Nights at Freddy's because I cannot play that game. It's fucking way too much. Like I'm here. Let me put it in perspective. I am this big of a bitch when it comes to video games. I hate countdown timers. I hate them. My anxiety is so prevalent in me that like Majora's Mask was unplayable for me. And people are like, "Why? You can reset the timer and like go back in time and reset." And I go, "It doesn't matter. I have this 2-hour clock bringing down, and if I go too far away from something, can I get back in time?" And fucking Dead Rising did shit like that too, where you had to like go out and get these shots for your daughter to keep her from turning into a zombie, and you had to do it like every couple of hours or whatever. And I'm like, I don't feel like I could go anywhere because I feel like I'm tethered to this spot and I hate it. So and then you like add the tension of these fucking monsters can come at you from any side and you have to be monitoring this, and this, and this. It just gives me fucking PTSD. It's horrible. I can't do it. And so that's kind of why I'm
VR, bro. You gotta do it in VR.
but like some of the better horror films, like here, I'll gauge it to see how much people can hate or like me. Some of my favorites are easily the first Paranormal Activity fucked me up. It was really, really good. Just the tension was built so well. It's a little boring, and I can understand that, but the fact that it was kind of you see a lot of these films now. It was like it's honestly the Blair Witch of our time is what I would have called it. Which we're not even that old, so technically it's like the second Blair Witch of our time. But I just like it was before found footage got played out. And they did such little intricate, simple things that really stick with you. Like towards the end where they put flour on the floor and then you started seeing like the demon hoof prints. I was like, man, it was so simple, but it really, really worked. It delivered what it needed to. And so I really, really enjoyed that one. I really like, what was it? What was the other one? There was a fucking, it was a house one. It had something to do with a house, and I can't remember. There's so fucking many of them. It wasn't a House on Haunted. Oh, Amityville Horror.
Amityville.
When they redid the one with Ryan Reynolds, that one really stuck with me. I enjoyed that one. That one really kind of juggled the idea of of paranormal versus kind of brutal slasher stuff. So I enjoyed that. That was fun. There was a couple other ones that were really good.
You should
and then
watch.
They just kind of shit the bed.
Have you seen any of the other Amityville ones? Because there was like a whole slew
Not
of
really.
them.
They made like 5 of them, and I was just
Yeah.
kind of like, I want to go back and watch the original because obviously you remade it for a reason.
Right.
And the house is so kind of iconic. I like shit like that. But you know, after a while, it just got kind of played out. Like this house does a thing, and it was a fake. Like House on Haunted Hill was goofy, and I mean, it was all right, but.
Dude, just because they remake something doesn't mean that the original
This is
good.
true. This is absolutely true. This is absolutely
It
true.
doesn't also mean that the remake was good either. So
Yeah, no, and I get it. I can see why people don't like the Ryan Reynolds one or just any.
I
of them
like
in
the
general.
Ryan Reynolds one. I don't like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street because they used the guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen. But I had no problem with him. It was just how they switched the story
and how
shit.
they changed his origin. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, when you try to, it's fine to take them in a different direction, like after the point, but man, changing up their origin is so difficult.
Not only that, they so it's a remake of for the Nightmare on Elm Street one. They open it with kind of like the blood, the gore, the dream sequence right away. I'm like, wait, what? I don't give a shit about this character. Who is this character? I don't care if they die, you know?
Yeah, and that's a big thing. It's like I think that's again, it's what's wrong with a lot of movies being remade or continued, especially like Terminator and shit like that. It feels like you had like a child watch the originals and told these executives what was neat. And they go, well, that's what made the movie special. So
Either
let's
that
just do
or
more of that.
They're also like remaking movies and shit, or retconning movies and shit for people that have been watching the originals, and they're like, oh, well, we don't need to explain as much because they watched that shit already. It's like, no, not everyone watched that stuff.
See, and I think that's even. I actually would say it's even worse than that. It's the idea that like they don't feel like they need to. Stick with it faithfully for those people. They're like, fuck you, you had your movies, we're going to continue it for this fan base, but you're continuing it for an audience that doesn't know anything about it.
Right.
So it's like, who are you making this for? It doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, you know, big cool robot and this and that, and it does cool morphy stuff and takes a bunch of bullets. Like, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's there. It's like, that's not why we like this movie. Don't get me wrong, Arnold Schwarzenegger was great, but Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't like, he was kind of like a character actor. He was funny.
Yeah.
Like we're all, you know, everybody's like, blah! And so he worked good as a robot. That's why it was fun.
See, when they to stick more with horror shit too, though, like when they did the reboot of the Friday the 13th series that they did a few years back. I think it was like early or mid 2000 somethings, I believe. I can't recall. I own it, but
well, go ahead and look it up because fucking Isaac Mahoney, fucking nerd, came through. It is a Rube Goldberg machine.
Rube Goldberg. Okay, that's what it is.
So RUBE Goldberg. Goldberg. Fucking Mighty Ducks. There's another horror movie I gotta go watch. They're like, wait, what? Horror movie? Yeah, because he had to fucking coaching a bunch of kids. That's the most terrifying thing I've ever heard.
All right, so it's the Friday the 13th 2009 version of the movie, where it was supposed to be a reboot of the entire series. But you can watch that movie and just be like, no, this is just a continuation from one of the other fucking ones, you know? they do kind of rush it, and then of course it being a reboot, I'm just like, Jason didn't kill nobody in the first one. Come on.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
Again-
redo it right.
Again,
Especially
it's
if you
like-
want to show powerful women nowadays, you know.
No, like I said, man, it's just like it's like they take the most superficial things about it and then go, well, if we put enough pretty lights on it and put a couple of jokes in there, everyone will enjoy it. And it's like,
Yeah.
these are just made to be watched once and then bought and put on a shelf and never seen again.
Yeah.
Like that's that's their point. And especially with streaming now, it's like, well, you know, we already made our money, so we'll call it good. It's like, you could make more though.
Yeah.
You could, like, ugh.
Honestly, though, too, like with horror movies, a lot of times the first one that was made, that's all it was made for, was one movie.
Mm-hmm.
They never expected to make like 5,000 Jason movies or Freddy or Halloween. Hell, they're still making Hellraiser movies. There was one that just came out.
That blows my mind.
I'm
It
just
blow-
like, holy crap. you
Because
know?
I think it was the second one I preferred over the first one, which
Oh,
completely,
of Hellraiser?
like, yeah. Which
Okay.
Fucked up some of that. Because I enjoyed, that was the one where it was like the villain was already kind of kooky and what was
Yeah.
going on, and I loved the puzzle box and all that shit.
Yeah.
So when they kind of delved more into that
Which
was
I
where
love
had
the
fun.
throwback in the Joss Whedon movie that they did.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
I
yeah.
fucking love that film. Like, even though it might, I don't know if it's like too stupid, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
No, Hannah loves all the Pinhead stuff.
Yeah.
That's her jam.
Have you guys seen the new one then, or no?
No,
Okay.
no. We just did. It's definitely the first two. And I don't know if she's watched any of the other ones after that. If I'm sure they'll come up eventually. I'm sure I'm gonna.
Those are ones that like I fucked up, and like I had watched a couple of them when I was a kid, and then as
Mm-hmm.
an adult I was like, oh, they're all right here. I'm gonna watch all of them at once. And I was just like fucked up. I was
Your-
like, yeah,
your
I
poor
probably
brain.
shouldn't have did that.
Your fucking poor brain, dude. You fucking just started melting. Oh, fucking Carrie. I love Carrie. The first Carrie is really good, and I actually enjoyed
Original?
the remake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also do like the remake with
What about the
Chloe Grace
sequel
and
to
Julianne.
Carrie, the original?
Oh, fuck, you know, nobody cares. Who fucking even knows that got made? But the remake's not bad. Chloe Grace does a really good job, and Julianne Moore plays the mom.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done, and it was one of those films that really worked because it was, you know, based on telekinesis and weird shit. That it really did help getting the CGI update.
Right.
It's not as good. I do think the original is like structured a lot better, and like, you know, it's. I don't
The
know, like,
original was also made too at a time where they were doing, or where they were getting into like the teen comedy kind of movies. It was,
Yeah,
it was
like
coming
the
right before
Breakfast
there.
Club shit,
Yeah,
John- all the
So
John
it was
Hughes
coming
stuff.
right before that, so it was even cooler because it's like, oh shit, you know.
Well, and also with those films, they're so much more. It's kind of hard to qualify, but they feel more visceral because back then there isn't a lot of CGI. You
Right.
have to do a lot of that stuff practically.
Yeah.
Like Firestarter's a great example. Like, I love Firestarter, and you know, you blowing up barns and lighting shit on fire. You have to do that because you cannot fake that shit back
Yeah.
then, unless you wanted to put like, you know, fucking tarp paper with lights and wind shit.
That's
but, like,
theater,
that stuff's
not
really cool.
film.
Right? So I like to, you know, I love shit like that. Like, I just like paranormal shit. I like stuff that like can freak you out and like it preys on what your brain can do to you.
Right.
Because, you know, when there's somebody chasing you, unless they make them essentially like a Freddy or like a god, where it's like, or like a Michael Myers, where it's like, I shot him like 8 times, but he's still alive. It's like, okay, so what are we doing? Like, how
Right.
does this work?
They never their villains were only, you know, at the end of the movie, it didn't matter what happened. You could have ripped them apart, blew them up with TNT. You'll
They're
still
coming back.
see the body bag move or some bullshit.
Yeah, and they're coming back, and it's like, and I get it. That's the fun part of it. It's like, you know, it went from like these guys were the scary antagonist in the background you had to run from to they became the star of the show.
Yeah.
Which was really strange. But I get it. I understand the kind of the popcorn fun of it, but that's why the first one works in those series all the time. Every now and then you get a second one that kind of maybe delves into backstory or adds something to it. But
One of the sequels I did not like, and it was a remake sequel too, which is even worse. but Rob Zombie did the Halloween remakes.
Yeah.
The first one, the only version of the original of his first one I watched was a director's cut. It's the only version that I've ever seen, and it's really good because it kind of goes along the lines of like Joker, where like he only hurts people that were dicks and stuff. You only really see him killing people that hurt him or hurt somebody or were assholes and shit like that in the director's cut. But then if you, from what I've heard, when you watch the other version, it's completely opposite. He's just fucking killing people. They cut out all the scenes of showing the people being assholes to him and stuff.
Okay.
So, and that's the cut that went to theaters. And then I'm wondering, that's probably why people didn't like it so much.
But I'm 50-50 on that premise because it's like I like the because you do so the problem is what are you trying to do with the villain, right? Are you trying to sympathize with the villain or are you trying to be just I want everyone scared of him?
It works because of how even in the theatrical cut, they show the scene because he ends up killing a kid at the beginning of the movie. While he's still a kid. And but before that happens, they show the kid being an asshole to him, beating him up, kicking him, doing shit. So he fucking kills him later on. And it makes sense then to see, okay, he's like pushed over the edge to kill these people every so often.
And see, and this is more of a fundamental thing. Like, so for any aspiring writers or filmmakers, this is kind of more of a like a theory moment right here. Because again, like I was gonna say, it's fun because you said you had two different cuts, which completely changes the context of the story.
Oh yeah,
which is cool. And this is important. Like when you're making it, like why are you doing this? So you have the idea of in this film, do I want to sympathize with the villain or do I want everyone to be scared of him? What am I trying to do here? And when you sympathize them by doing he only kills certain people,
right?
It's kind of nice because then you can walk away as specific audience members. You get to leave with this self-inflection of like, oh, okay, well, I'd be fine because I don't do anything and I would never be a dick to him and blah, blah, blah. But is that what you want to do? Or did you want to scare everyone and go, hey, this is a monster machine.
Right.
You need to run for your life. Always be on your guard, that kind of stuff. So I do like the idea that, that there are ways to portray that and you can do it in the same damn movie just based on what you could cut out 2 minutes and completely change the entire film.
Because I believe there's even one scene where there's a guy like raping a girl in the mental hospital and that's when he fucking kills that guy. But in the theatrical cut, they cut the whole rape scene out. And see, and it's like completely change context. Yeah. It's rough. And it's like And as somebody watching it, you kind of go, movie, please tell me what I'm supposed to feel. Right. It's the point here. Like you can let me infer certain things, but I need to know where am I sitting in this ride? Like, am I on his side? Am I not on his side? Am I scared of him? Am I not scared of him? What are the rules? One thing I love to watch, like the director's cut, because I want to see the story that they wanted to tell versus the story the studio did at first. Yeah. And then go back and try and see the other one. Oh, and I love shit like that. But the thing is with that series, anyways, the sequel to it, Halloween 2 that he did, was just like trash. It was trash because it kind of went away from the storyline that I saw. The Rob Zombie one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it went away from the storyline that I saw. They did some white horse or something story plot, and he was always seeing his mom. It was just another reason basically for Sherry Moon Zombie to show up in the movie again and all that stuff. And it was just horrible. I mean, I didn't appreciate like the way they treated the characters that I've seen like Jamie Lee Curtis portray the one chick, you know, and it's like and it's also like what you were saying about because you said it on a cast a long time ago, so it's funny that you brought up and obviously on October. Yeah. It's funny you bring up the Freddy Krueger thing because I didn't know that. Like, it still blows my mind that they changed one aspect of what Freddy did, and it completely changes the context. Of everything he does after, and it sucks. It kind of ruins it. With the remake, right? Yeah. 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 Like how you said he was a diddler, and because he diddled,
it made a lot of the diddle jokes or like the.
It makes
the
it you not
sexual-
want to laugh at those jokes.
Exactly,
when he
it
does
makes you
'cause it's like,
uncomfortable.
okay, that's fucked up. But if you're just a kid murderer, then it's like, okay, I
It sounds
can
so
laugh.
stupid, right? Like, what a fucking hot take. I love it. And it's just like, yeah, you're completely right, man. It's just like, okay, he's a murderer. I get it. So he's a piece of shit.
Right.
I understand his motivation. He's just a sick person, crazy. But it's like, oh, he also diddled and killed. It's like, okay, why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? There's no. It's
Not
like I
only
always say,
that, there's a scene in that damn movie where they try and make you feel bad for Freddy when he's still
Yeah.
a human before he gets killed. Because the actor they have portray him, he can really look. He can play scared.
he's a great
really
actor.
good. He's
and
a great
good
actor.
Yeah.
So they have him like in the scene where they burn him to death. And like he's just freaking out. He's like, I didn't do anything, and he's like almost in tears and shit.
Yeah.
And then you find out later he's just this fucking child molester
Yeah.
thing that is like, and he's like happy about it. And he's like making fun of the chick because he's
And
like,
see, and that
oh, you
sucks.
remember our time together and all this. I'm like,
Aw.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
And
Freddy, I mean, granted, he's a killer. I get it. But Freddy's also one of those killers you're kind of like, I like this character. you
Yeah,
know?
I'm not necessarily rooting for him, but I get why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that was my biggest thing, and I'm sorry to come back to Joker just because I know we're talking horror stuff, but
Yeah.
that was one of my things about him, and I couldn't understand this whole like rhetoric out, like this whole meta thing outside, like where the media and people were going with it, with the idea of like we're sympathizing with him and this is bad, and I go,
Right.
is that really bad though? Because it's important. I'm not rooting for the guy. Like that's the thing is people go, well, because you're sympathizing and you're supporting what he does. I'm like, no. I'm watching him, and there's a certain point where you feel bad for him. And you're like, this could happen to fucking anyone.
Yeah.
And then you're going, and then he makes a choice, and you go, oh no, Arthur, no, don't do no. Now I'm not on your side anymore. But you get why he got to that point.
Yeah.
And now I'm just watching it unfold. That's all. I'm not rooting for anybody.
But then with that movie again, like we spent the 3 hours talking about it, but still,
yeah, right.
like they still, the media still never said, oh, he's already mentally ill before any of this shit.
Right. It's crazy.
It's not like
And-
it's like me or you, and we just had like a bad couple days or something, you know.
He's had a whole life, and then he like realizes that his life was a lie on top of it.
And then
He's
of
like,
course
why
he
was I
stops
even
taking
trying?
his meds and all that
Yep.
stuff too. So
And it's like the idea that the world forced him to go this way when, it's like you get it. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, it's like sympathizing with a villain does not make you root for him or think he's a hero.
I
like
mean,
that's the whole thing. And people miss that part, I think.
when you watch Freddy vs. Jason, who are you rooting
Who you
for?
rooting for? Exactly. Exactly. The sad part is you're rooting for both of them because you're just like, I want to watch them fight each other. Like you literally the characters in those films are
Yeah.
just cannon fodder.
Yeah.
You're like, please make every single fucking human in this movie make them unlikable
Yeah.
because I want to just see Freddy and
The-
Jason go to work.
There's a badass cut. Somebody did a really cool cut with the end fight scene with Freddy vs. Jason where they're actually physically fighting. And fucking Michael Myers shows up and he's like fighting them too.
man.
I was like, this is awesome.
I would totally watch it. And that's fan service. That's a Godzilla movie at that point.
Right.
Like, you're literally like, I just want to watch them fight.
And then you need
um,
Chucky to show up, you know?
God and come in and like just like start stabbing him in the calves.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
And then at the end, Pinhead comes in and just like zaps them all
Zaps
away.
everyone to space or something. Fucking great. Dude, Michael, fucking come on, man. Start writing. Like, let's go. I want this.
It's the end game of horror movies.
Yes. What was that? Like, it's like that. What's that fucking? It's like I think they're made by like How It Should Have Ended. They did that thing,
Okay.
the super badass villain fight
Yeah.
or whatever. God damn, that's great. Give me a live action version of that. Let's do that. Most ambitious team up ever. No, but I get it. Like again, like with sympathizing with a villain, like that's what can make like horror movies and stuff cool. Like, maybe sometimes I'm not rooting for the people in like our protagonists. Sometimes I am kind of waiting to
Sometimes
see the
though
bad
too,
guy
it's
show up.
like I know, especially when they're sequeled horror movies. It's like I know the bad guy better than I know these new kids coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck would I care about them? I want to see this
Exactly.
dude get,
I didn't come to a Michelle and Jake movie. I came to a Freddy versus Jason movie. Like, let's go here. Like, let's do this.
Freddy versus Jason with the wannabe Jane Silent Bob in there.
Fucking Christ. And I get it. Like, you know, it eventually turns into a cartoon, and that's the hard part. Is, we're like, who are you servicing at this point? And that's always the hard part. And I get it as a studio. You got to make your money, but at the same time, it's like,
well,
you know,
how about this? Predators versus Aliens. They're both evil
why?
too.
Stop fucking kill me. Talk about two fucking franchises that just got fucking a corpse just puppeteered in front of audiences at this point.
Now with those ones, I know it's not like well, Aliens is technically horror.
The first one, I would go Alien is a horror film.
Yeah, the second one
Aliens
more
is an
action-y.
action film. Yeah.
Now
it's kind of like the idea, like if you watched Terminator versus Terminator 2,
right.
It's like the first one's like
a lot darker and
tension, one man running from thing to this crazy action spectacle, which is exactly, I mean, talk about James Cameron. That's who he is, spectacle. And that's why Alien versus Aliens is
he
so
was
different.
spectacle before Marvel took it from him, and now he's bitching about them.
Pretty much, right? It's like, yeah, okay, mister, I used blue screen for everything. And like, don't get me wrong, Titanic, I fucking love. I get it. Like, you know, stupid blue story. I don't care, whatever. It's brilliantly acted. Everything looks great. The effort put into it is just like peak cinema, peak movie going filmmaking. But it's good shit. But like, come on, man. It's the same shit we already talked about with like Martin Scorsese and all those guys. It's like, I get it. You know, you say what you want to say. It's a little bit of a pretentious thing to say, but just because you said it doesn't make it true. And
this is like one thing
cares.
That's probably one thing I really love about the horror genre is like not many people really attack it. Like they just leave it on its own because they feel that it's like this. To me, it feels like it's going to be that underdog that ends up coming up again.
Oh, I will always call it's the little brother of cinema.
Yeah.
It's that we understand you're there, but you're not getting an award. You're not, you're not getting an Academy Award. You're not getting this. You're not getting. But then you have people like James Wan who come in and do like The Conjuring or do like a really good It remake, and then they fuck up on the sequel. But they come back and reimagine that. Oh, that's from all I've heard. I don't really have any desire to see this.
Honestly, even the original like made for TV one, as soon as they became adults, it kind of sucked anyway. So it's only scary when there's kids involved because like really worried for the kids.
Yeah. Well, and they also did it better with the other one is that they would do the flashing back between adult and kid. So it kept, so even if you didn't like the adult shit, it kept you engaged, but it was giving you piece by piece. They don't do that with the second It film.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you have to just like they'll flash back from here to there, but it's not like intercut. There are rumors. I don't know if a studio is gonna do it, but obviously it's the fucking internet. I can't wait for this. That there are guys working on taking both It films and cutting it like the originals, like where they do the flash forward, flash back stuff.
Yeah.
If somebody does that, I'm watching that. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And go from there, because I heard Bill Hader is just fucking incredible. Man, talk about a fucking underrated actor right there. He did a lot of comedy shit, and he's so busy with SNL, and everybody lumps him into a certain category. But fucking Bill Hader, man.
Well,
he's good in everything
Doesn't he work
does.
on South Park, too?
Yeah, he's a writer. He's a co-writer.
Okay. Yeah,
God, he's been on that for years, man. I couldn't believe it. Well, that blew my mind when they brought that up. But he is so underrated, it's insane. Like
he basically does everything on there that he can't put on SNL.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. But like, I would love to see somebody tell me he's kind of like, he's like a Denzel Washington or like, you know, Gary Oldman or something. It's like, show me something that he was bad in. I don't care if the movie he was in was bad. Show me something he was bad in. I'm like, because even Paul, that fucking alien Seth Rogen movie, he was good in it. Like, I don't know.
Who was he in that one?
He was just one of the detectives.
Okay,
these guys going after everyone.
I haven't watched that in forever.
It's actually funny. I actually really enjoy it. But back to horror, I guess. So, I mean, you kept asking me what I was into. Like, what's your what are your go-tos?
The main genre I love is gonna be slasher.
Mm-hmm.
just because I guess that's what I grew up on. You know, I never really got into all the other supernatural crap and stuff like that. I would say Child's Play
Okay.
was probably that was probably my jam for the longest time. Even though, so like we would watch these other scary doll movies, like Dolls.
Oh yeah, or Puppet Master, or fucking
Dolly Dearest. So Dolly Dearest was the movie that got me. It wasn't like a huge movie. A lot of people don't know about it unless you're
I've
like
never
into
heard
the
of it.
genre. But it's like demon possessed, basically dolls. And that one got me scared to death of fucking dolls, dude. If you Google Dolly Dearest and just look at images, it's weird as fuck.
It's already like game over.
Yeah. And then you know, I mean, Dolls itself, as a kid, I was kind of like, this is kind of scary. As I grew up and I watched it again, I was like, oh, it's not bad because the dolls are only killing assholes. So, you know, that was another one where it was like all the good people live.
Oh man, and Dolly Dearest fucking rip torn. Rip torn shit. R.I.P. torn shit. That's sad. Anyway, dude, I might watch that. That looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks like the Exorcist chick on top of a doll. It's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah. And it gets crazy. I mean, nowadays compared to what we have, it looks cheesy, but it's still like it would get you as a kid.
Other
Puppet Master, I fucking love though. I love all
Puppet
those.
Master is great. I actually do like Puppet Master.
That's another one where they only killed assholes.
Or like I like Monkey Paw is a good one.
Yeah.
I always love those. I like when people remake that shit. The idea of making a wish and then something fucks you.
Yeah.
They tried to redo it with Wish Upon. Fucking what a piece of shit. Holy fuck. Oh my god. It sucks because I like Joey King. I don't know what her deal is, but I like her.
Okay.
As an actress, and she's just got one of those looks. It might be just a superficial thing, but I think she's a decent actress. She was in Zach Braff's second direction movie. Wish You Were Here or We Were Here or whatever. She plays the daughter or whatever, and she's great. She's fucking fantastic, and I've kind of followed her ever since. Man, she just makes shitty films, but she's really good. She was in Kissing Booth on Netflix. That's a piece of shit.
She was on The Flash too.
Yeah, she played a Magenta.
Yeah.
Not one of the stronger performances, but she wasn't bad. That was when we were having like weird. That was the Savitar shit, I believe. So
Apparently,
she
played the prison child in Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, and she was the chick in the wheelchair in Oz the Great and Powerful. The one with
that's a good. She did great in that. I thought she did great. But I'm excited to see where she goes because I think she's pretty good. Let's see. God, old fucking stuff. Oh, dude, Tommy Knockers. That one fucked me up.
Tommy Knockers, yeah.
That fucked me up. I like a lot of those old scary films. I mean, and pretty much anything that was like Stephen King, like it was worth watching. Like obviously The Shining.
I like The Shining. The one with that was it Kathy Bates did.
Misery, I think.
Misery. I liked it when I first watched it, but as an adult, I'm just kind of like,
it's good. It's a good movie. I don't particularly like it.
It's a better story.
It's kind of on the idea of like that weird tension torture stuff, and I can't handle it. Like just personally, I can't handle it. If you can go with that stuff, where if you like Saw and shit like that,
right?
It's a good film. It's really
I
well
like
done.
Saw, but I don't like Misery as much.
Yeah. Well, I'm
It's
just
weird.
talking the more like.
But I also
like
like
the idea of like
I guess,
creepy tension and.
Yeah, and honestly, with
It's so
Saw
good.
too, like where a lot of people like the cool traps and all that shit in the Saw movies.
Yeah.
I'm more like I want to see the story. What's happening with Jigsaw? What's going on? Who's the killer? That's all I want to know.
And that's the fun part is like that's the hard part with I think with horror is the idea of the people who want the monster, they don't want the story. or the other way around. And it's like, how do you appease that in the middle? Or is like, what do you, it's kind of like that idea of like, as the artist, what do they always say? As an artist, your job is to give things to people that they didn't know they wanted.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that struggle as an artist to try and.
It was one thing I liked about the last Jigsaw actual movie, the last one they did called Jigsaw, just because there wasn't as much gore in it as there was from like 3 through whatever.
Yeah. I think it was like 3 to 5. I think Jigsaw was like number 6 or some shit like that. It was 5 or 6.
No, I think there's more than that.
Really? You got that
Yeah.
far? My biggest problem with that was it was fucking lazy because they wanted to do the twist the same way at the end of every movie. It was because, you know, person A killed person B, and then in the next movie, person A killed person B because person C told A to do that.
Yeah.
And then like the third one, it was like, no, person D told C to be A, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's just like, oh my god. It's like, and again, that's the part where it's like you recontextualize the movies that came before, and if you do it correctly, like in Final Destination, it's awesome. If you do it too many times and you fuck with something, now you've completely fucked your franchise and you have a problem.
So there's 8 of them that are out right now, including Jigsaw.
Holy shit! And Chris Rock's remaking it, isn't he?
Yeah, they have a working title called The Organ Donor right
Oh,
now.
Christ. That sounds terrible. Don't do that.
At least that's what this. Yeah, story by Chris Rock. Yep.
Call him Puzzle Blade.
They have 2 video games for this movie. I didn't know Saw had video games. What the fuck are they gonna do in that?
I've actually heard the first Saw video game's fun. Well, I've heard one of them is fun. I don't know which one because I haven't seen anybody play it. But
yeah. There's
Hannah
theme park rides.
Hannah and I actually just played Layers of Fear.
Yeah.
The other day, and oh man, I jumped twice. I hit my head on the wall. It was a ride. It scared the shit out of me. And it was really funny too, because we were playing and I was getting so fucking bored.
Yeah.
I was just like, because it's one of those like, it's like puzzle horror. Like I don't know if you'd heard about PT, where it was kind of like you just walk down a hallway a bunch of times and creepy shit happens, and you have to interact with your environment to find like pieces of a puzzle, and then it'll unlock a door so you can go through the door to the next room, and you just continue so on and so on.
Right.
And so like obviously it's kind of like more of a story driven video game, and it's all first person shit. So I'm not playing. I'm letting Hannah play so I can commentate with her and just kind of, because also like, again, I'm a pussy, so I don't want to play because I'll just not, I'll walk backwards everywhere.
Yeah.
And not progress the story. So she'll keep going. And she's one of those people who couldn't give a fuck, dude. Just practically sprinting through the level, going to the next day. I'm like, college, I gotta see, I can't see. Like, stop, slow down. And then she'd slow down, and I go, God damn it, dude. This is so fucking boring. I hate this. When was it gonna get scary? And she's like, Jesus, shut up, John. Like, let me keep going. I'm like, I'm fine. And then like 2 minutes later, like after I said it's fucking boring and not scary for like the third time, boom, here goes jump scare, and I fucking like, and I jump back and I hit my head on the wall and I go, oh man, oh. And she goes, see? And then she goes again and does the next level, and I jumped again. Like in like 10 minutes, I jumped like 3 times like a bitch. And I'm like, oh
So
man,
that's probably
I'm
why
sorry.
you don't like watching a lot of horror stuff.
I don't, well, it's because, and I'd like to think that people can already tell that I'm that like pretentious guy who like, I get sucked into a film, man, or like games and stuff. Like I get really sucked in, and people are like, it's because you're looking for problems. I'm like, no. It's like when a movie does something really well and it's firing on all cylinders, like, I really like our protagonist. I'm really excited by what's happening. The music's killing it. The composition's good. There's no technical problems. I'm in it right now. When I get sucked in, dude, I get sucked in. Like, I don't give a shit if like CGI's bad or whatever. If they're nailing it, I'm like, I'm fucking in. And when that happens, dude, fucking Christ, I am so terrified. Like, and video games take it to another level because it does not progress unless you do it.
Right.
You have to be in charge. And like, perfect example is, I understand that I Am Legend is not particularly well made. Cause like they put all their money in on these CG villains and they're terrible and they look like shit. But man, that fucking scene where he has to go into the building to get his dog. I've seen that film like 6 times, and that makes me uncomfortable every single time I watch it, because it's so well done. It's just like, it fucking plays on the most basic instincts of a human. The being scared of the dark, not knowing where things are, not being able to trust all of your senses at a given time.
Right.
I love shit like that. And then you get into psychological stuff. It's like, this person can't even trust their brain. Like, what do I do? Like, is it real? Is it not real? Like, oh, I fucking hate this. Like, stop it. And, so then when you get hit with like a jump scare or something like that, like a cheap jump scare, it's like, man, it hits me even so much harder, because I was so in that I was ready to be scared. And
well, I guess since you said a cheap jump scare,
yeah,
we'll segue into the movie that you made me watch.
Yeah,
Piece of shit movie, Darkness Falls.
Why do you hate that film so much? Yeah, Darkness Falls, man. So
Were there? I don't even see. So I watched it yesterday. You watched it yesterday, right?
I rewatched it. Yeah.
Okay, because I hadn't watched it in years, probably since it first came out, or so. I just remembered the basis of it.
It's one of those ones that I pull out like once every year or every other year around October, because it's like my scary movie. It's one of those ones that I saw it at a perfect time. Like, I think I was like 13 or 14.
It came out in 03, so.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
so I was probably about 14, 15. Probably too old to be scared of this, but like I said, so the premise is, for anybody who doesn't know, it's called Darkness Falls. It is essential, like, supernatural thriller. It opens up on generic like the 1700s, like medieval or whatever stuff.
17 or 1800s. I couldn't tell.
I don't know.
It just showed the interior of a fucking house, really. And
Yeah. So essentially, it's kind of like the beginning of Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it is. And so this old lady, they kind of deem her the tooth fairy. She lives out in a cottage by herself. Old lady who can't go out in the sun because she has a skin condition. The light really hurts and burns her skin. So she wears a porcelain mask when she needs to go around. And kids would come to her cottage when they lost their last baby tooth, gave it to her, and she'd give them money. One day, these couple of kids disappear for a long time, and the town gets really spooked, and then they get really angry, and then they mob and assume that she was the one that killed them. And so they burn her at the stake. And of course, like, they smash her porcelain mask, and they burn her, and because of her skin, it's even worse. You know, it's all just as horrible as you could possibly be, mob mentality shit. And she dies. They canceled her in Twitter speak, and then you find out that the kids are perfectly fine. And as she was dying, she puts a curse on the town that the night that every child loses their last baby tooth, she will come for it. And if, only if, they look upon her face, will she kill them. And the premise with her is that if you see her face, she does not stop until she gets you.
Now, see, the thing with that is, they don't show all of that.
What do you mean?
Like, her doing that and burning at the stake, and like,
because you didn't need it.
Okay, but
told
the
the
way
story.
you
It was just a setup.
the way you just said it though was
Yeah.
a lot more entertaining in my head than me watching.
But that's why it freaks me out, because it's so like because it's what the story is. It's what they set.
I understand that's what the story is, but you explaining it that way is a lot more visually entertaining inside my head than what was visually on the screen.
Yeah, well, because they were doing generic shit. They were just they were like burning like creepy, like, you know, sepia fucking photos and burning things and doing stuff. And I think a lot of it is because I think everybody wanted the generic like Hocus Pocus scene which I would tell you right now is if you saw it physically done, like with the actors and done, it's gonna just look like Hocus Pocus.
They
and
just
it's
wanted
lame.
to keep their movie to PG-13. That's all they wanted to do.
Sure.
They didn't want to show you burning people on the stake. And
Well, I don't know. They do some really creepy murder shit.
the best thing about it is, I guess, for them to not have that in there, they kept the movie runtime down to a minute or
Well, that's
hour
what I'm
10,
saying.
So that
It
was
gives
nice.
it gives you a nice it gives you the premise very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's essentially the Tooth Fairy. It's like it's demonizing the Tooth Fairy, and I love that concept.
But she's only in that one town, right?
Yes, it's only the town.
So, which is
'cause-
weird.
And trust me, and I want you to know this. Hannah almost punched me last night because hashtag me too. Don't abuse me, Hannah. We were watching it, and I strictly watched it with the idea, and I'm trying to find holes in it. Like, I'm trying to bomb this thing because I know you don't like it. So I literally went into it with the idea that I hate this film and I want to rip it apart.
Yeah.
So I love the introduction. It's quick. It's to the point. I get it. And then, bam, here we are.
The introduction, let's be honest, though, the introduction to that movie was a lot shorter than how you introduced
Yes,
it.
yeah, it's well because they also have the imagery with like the burning stuff, and it's like, and of course it's like the basic narrator going,
Yeah.
you know, and she did the thing, and then the children were gone, and it's fine, but like the premise is there,
Yeah.
and it feels
Yep,
really
yep.
good, and then bam, we hard cut to modern times, pick whatever you want, and we meet our protagonist Kyle, who has lost his last baby tooth. You see him pull it out. He's getting ready to put it under his table or under his pillow and stuff. And then his pseudo girlfriend girlfriend shows up. Fucking first cheap jump scare of the film where he's like opening the window and, you know, she climbed up into the window to say hi and, oh, you're going to take me to the dance and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to do all this neat stuff and yay. So then she reiterates the fact that, hey, that was your last baby tooth. Remember, don't peek.
Yeah.
And so, and I think this film is shot really well. It's a little cheap, but I think the way it's shot, it feels right. They do like a lot of the like long hallway stuff and good composition. And like they even set it so it's like raining outside, which doesn't make sense because it didn't look like it was raining when she left. But like, so like the lights, like you see shadows moving on the wall. And it just it really preys on the idea of like dark, like you're afraid of the dark, you're scared of what's in the shadows. And
Not only were they trying to say it was raining outside, she wasn't wet,
exactly.
and when the cops were there, the ground wasn't wet outside.
That's what I'm saying. It missed. It technically missed. It gave the aesthetic, but it didn't earn it. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But then Kyle goes to bed, and then all of a sudden, we start hearing this creepy sound, like just so generic, creepy, breathy sound. Which she's an old woman, so I'm like, I'm gonna take it. Like she's a witch, essentially. And you start seeing a shadow just moving across, and it's so fucking creepy. And you're like, oh fuck! And the kid gets scared. He goes under the covers because everybody knows you can't stab through covers.
Can we say though, why ain't the bitch giving these kids at least a 5-minute, head start to get to sleep before she just
Like,
busts
right?
up in that bitch?
I wish I do kind of wish that they would establish maybe there was like a time, like it's like no
A
right
time,
when the sun
some
goes down.
ground rules. That was like one of my things. I was like, what are the ground rules for this? Like with Freddy, he can get you in your sleep. Don't fucking fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep.
With her, it's like, there's ground rules. She'll come for the tooth. If you see her, she'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Et cetera, et cetera.
My only world break, which I would give maybe, is that is the time. Like it's the idea of like once the sun goes down, it's nighttime. So she should be coming after you.
But then you're also like, all right, continue on with the story, and then I'll chime in as you get to the parts because
Yeah. And the whole thing is like, and I told myself, I think it was the moment, like we're going to play off the traditional stereotypes of the Tooth Fairy, that he had to put because they even make a point of seeing him put the tooth under the pillow and then all the weird shit starts happening.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the idea of like, okay, here's the sacrifice type of thing. You know what I mean? So now the demon knows it's time to show up. So she shows up. the thing I love about it is that she cannot do anything until you look upon her face, and she cannot operate in light. It does not matter what kind of light source it is. She cannot operate in it, which I'm like, cool. We have ground rules. We have motivation.
Which they fucking throw those ground rules out later.
How?
Just keep going.
Okay,
we'll get to it.
So she shows up, he freaks out, goes under the covers, and you just hear, like, you can tell she's like essentially on top of him, or like floating through, because she's a flying apparition and shit. And so
she's
pulls
just
the
a
fucking
bunch
covers.
of garments floating in the
She's
air.
essentially one of those like fucking hooded, tattered skeletons that you can buy at like Menards.
Before we keep going, I will tell you this.
Yeah.
It still is not, to me, as bad as Slender Man. So it's still not the worst thing I've ever seen.
I'll give you that too. So Kyle looks upon her face, and then hard cut to him, because he's got his flashlight and stuff, and then hard cut to him in the bathtub, which there's Ninja Turtles on the tub.
Yeah, there's Ninja Turtles. I saw in his bedroom there was a Spider-Man thing on his nightstand, and then a Donatello figure right on his thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And the only way
Hannah,
you can tell he's Donatello is because he's the darker colored skin.
he's got that like brown colored skin. Hannah noticed it first, and I go, "Oh shit! I've watched this like 1,000 times, and I've never noticed." I'm like, Michael probably fucking loved it. But this was the scene that fucking haunted me forever. So he's sitting in the bathtub. He's in the light, obviously, bathroom, sitting in the tub, and you just hear her go, and he's freaking out. And then the mom finally comes in and goes, "What are you doing? There's nothing to be scared of, blah, blah, blah." She goes to the bedroom and she kills her because the mom saw her in the mirror.
Right.
Because she doesn't go away until she kills him. And,
which is weird too, to me.
Why?
Like it breaks, like, because she's there for the tooth. He sees her.
yeah. So now she won't leave.
Did she even take the tooth, I wonder? And then
She might have. I don't know.
And then
but she had to
it's
kill
like-
him first, though. She had
has
to kill him. She's
But
not
then
done.
I feel that she would be able to make herself invisible to anybody,
But why would she do that? She's there.
so she doesn't have to kill random people for no
Why
fucking
not?
reason.
Why does she care?
And then make the
No.
kid look psychotic the rest of his life. What the
Oh my
fuck?
god, you're dumb. You're so dumb. So the mom goes to the bedroom. Tooth Fairy's still there. She makes the sound, and the mom sees her in the mirror. Because the whole point was, I imagine the ghost was trying to stay away and not be seen. That's the point. She doesn't want to be seen. And but the mom looks into the mirror and sees her behind her, and then that's why she gets murdered. And super fucking creepy. And then the next shot is him back in the bathtub. The lights bleeding into the hallway, and you just see her floating above the door, and you just hear the sound, and her cloak is floating, and it's so Spectre. I love fucking ghosty shit. And it's such a cool scene. And then bam, we hard cut. Everybody thinks he's insane, and he moves away, and he moved to Las Vegas.
They all
the
think
City
he
of Lights.
killed his mom, and they're just like, where does he go? A psych
Easy.
ward?
They take him to a
That's
psych
it.
ward. They keep him in the light, and then when he
The kid's not in
turned 18.
handcuffs. The kid's not in the back of a police car when we see him afterwards.
Oh, he didn't need
Nothing.
to. Why?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
bother? It's
Yeah,
a
you
waste of
did.
time. No, he didn't. The cops took him.
My thing with that, okay, so because it has to deal with the end of the movie too, so I'm gonna like jump back and forth a little.
Yeah,
here.
that's fine.
When
It's old
she's like right outside the bathroom, up in this air there. So at the end of the movie, she's full blown in the fucking light, and pops poof
In the
whatever.
lighthouse,
yeah. But like you see her like there's a scene in there where her hand gets like hit by the light and it hurts her.
And it sizzles. Yeah.
Like that. So it clearly doesn't kill her, but it hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Why didn't she just shove her hand in there, turn the light off, and go fucking kill the kid?
What?
Shove her hand in the bathroom, turn the light switch off because it's right there, and just go kill the kid.
Okay. You can have that comment. I'm not even going to work on that because I don't really care.
Why? Why? I mean, granted, we wouldn't have a movie, but still.
But at the same time, it's not like she's trying to get herself hurt. Like I don't know. She just
But later on in the movie, she's like revealing herself to everybody so she can just kill everybody. Just to get to one person.
Yeah, well, that's the point. And also think about the fact that he moves away because she doesn't operate outside of the city. And so he moved to LA or to Las Vegas where the
Well,
lights
not
are
only that,
always
she's
on.
after him and she's after Michael.
Yeah, the smaller kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's how the world works.
I'm just saying.
He saw her.
I'm just
saying. It hasn't broken any rules. What are you talking about?
Just
she
saying.
doesn't just go, I have a hit list. Okay, it's one person. I'm done. No, it's anybody who looks on her face. And the kid did. And you know, that's the motivation to bring him back.
I still
to the
think
town.
she should have shoved her hand in there and shut the light off and just killed the kid. Bam, boom, the movie's only 10 minutes long.
Great. Fun. You nailed it. You nailed it, Michael. I can't wait for you to write your first script. I can't wait for the next 10-minute movie. So
all right.
I love the kookiness of the because this is obviously back in like 2000 when like, you know, Shaun of the Dead, Resident Evil, all these action like
this was
crazy
out like
sci-fi
when
movies.
Jeepers Creepers and all that bullshit was coming out.
And so they were doing my favorite part was they were doing those generic like let's arm our hero with all the weapons montage, you know, like loading bullets and loading guns and blah, blah, blah. But they were doing it with him with flashlights. It was fucking awesome. Like you had the big long Duracell batteries, you had the short ones, you had big mag lights, you had little tiny flashlights. And I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. I just like the world building on that. That was just fun. It's the fucking editing and the way it's shot is super fucking cheesy. But I enjoy it, so I get past that. Oh man, can the adult Kyle? Holy fuck, can that guy not act? Holy shit!
No,
he is like the worst actor in the entire film. It's absolutely insane.
And I'm surprised they got Emma Caulfield for that role, dude. Anya,
and that was the love interest, the older
Caitlin when she was grown up.
Yeah.
Michael's sister or mom?
Yeah. Michael's sister.
Yeah.
I believe, which is weird, right?
Yeah, I would have been like, why not just make it your son?
Well, I think it's because they wanted to like open up the door for Kyle to come back as a love interest, maybe. Which I would also go.
She could have
why
been
does that
son
matter?
and ex-husband, or
or adopted. Or
and then
something.
it
I
would
don't
have
know.
made like a conflict. You could have made like the ex-husband one of the police guys or some bullshit like that, and be like, "What you doing here? Why you with my blah blah blah?"
So he like comes back because Caitlin calls Kyle because he's still alive, obviously, and the brother is suffering from the same stuff that everybody was telling him that Kyle was dealing with, and so she convinces him to come back to help. Which that's where I break the world. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going back.
Wait, why
there.
would you come back into the town?
I'd
And
be
not
like, just
only
take
that-
it. Come to Vegas with me.
So I am kind of like, okay, so I understand her lore is only in that town. That's the only place she can chill out in and shit like that. And he's not in there at all. But yet he's still like with the lights nonstop. He's got they show his like apartment with the generator and make sure no lights ever go off and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should know that the lore, unless they don't know that.
He might not
in
know
the
that.
movie. Maybe it's only like outputted to us.
We know that. He
but
might
he
not
doesn't
know
know that.
I mean, would you take that chance? You know what I mean? Also, at the same time, you go, he also dealt with it for how many years?
Right.
You know, it's embedded in him. Like, because obviously, if people assumed he killed his mom, you know, he's going to be held in foster care or, you know, as a student of the
Which then I would
state or
say,
whatever.
you know, his entire the rest of his childhood, or when he was at the mental place and stuff like that, they didn't have the lights on nonstop.
You don't know that because so pretty much everything that's happening to Michael is something you need to assume happened to Kyle.
Except Michael didn't supposedly kill anybody yet.
Exactly. But they think he's suffering from the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why you see the nurse turn the lights out on him and people get fucking pissed at her. You know, it's like, hey, it doesn't matter if it's in his head, don't do it. And then every time the lights go out.
His sister, Michael's sister, is a fucking demon. She can kill this thing and just get it over with.
You're a dork. So
Buffy reference, guys.
but so again, you're kind of living all the stuff that Kyle dealt with as a child through Michael. Or this is how I would say.
Can I say I will give you this with Michael? Of course, it's something that I mean, it was 2003, so I guess I'll let it pass. But even in 2000, whenever I watched the movie originally, I was kind of like, whatever. The kid that played Michael, he had like that generic scary kid voice type thing, especially when he says, and I wrote it down, if you put me in the dark, she'll get me. But he says it like so like freaky like.
See, you say that, and I like how you went with that part. I went with I don't understand why he's talking like a 4-year-old when he looks like he's 9.
That too.
Because he was putting like W. He's like, I'm so scared. And I'm like, what the fuck? This kid is not 3. Like, what are we doing?
They were trying to make him the generic kid scary voice thing. And
I don't know what they were trying to do. Or
that's
maybe
what they were doing.
Or maybe
watching it.
But I can say maybe I'm being an asshole and the kid's got like a speech impediment or something. But it felt so dumb. It was just like, I'm so scared. And I'm like, oh my God, kill me. Like, come on, kid.
Just watching it though, it reminded me, the kid reminded me of the same kid from Banana Splits. Like the way they both have like that look and like the the basic horror kid movie.
But you got
look.
again 2003, man. Like, it's what people did. And, so I'm not gonna knock the kid too hard for it, especially because again he's at least emoting better than the main protagonist. But yeah, those were a couple of issues I had, and I mean I'd even give you the excuse like when we have a moment where like the kid put his hand in the dark and then we hard cut to him in the bathroom and he's only got like cuts on his arm. It's like, why didn't she just fucking pull him off the bed and kill him? They're done. I can give you moments like that.
I can say then too, because that was another issue I had when they had him in the machine, and it's just slowly coming up to his face. I'm like, fucking stab him in the heart. It's already covered in the dark. Come on.
Half my stuff is just like, I just go, it's for movie tension, or like she's trying to not be seen by everybody. Because I would make the argument that she doesn't necessarily want to kill everyone. Like that was the whole point. She's pissed off at the town, but she was still who she was. Like she's not trying to murder everyone.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it's tiring.
Which was the curse too that she says is like, I'll come for the tooth, the last tooth of every kid or whatever when it drops. But if they see me, I kill them. So what makes it okay for her to kill the other people that see her that didn't have teeth?
It's just the lore. Oh, and you also got to understand, they've all lost their baby teeth. So they all operate within the same rules.
When she comes for it, though.
But they've lost their last baby tooth. So all the adults have already lost them. They still play within the rules. It's still within the lore. So,
all right, let's
nice
keep going,
try.
because we got another one.
You're trying,
let's
but
go.
She's still in the lore.
I hate the movie. I just don't like it.
It's amazing.
The acting is horrible. Even fucking Emma Caulfield, like,
she's
her acting
good.
is like,
you're insane. She's fine, and I actually like the lawyer boyfriend guy. My biggest issue was the bar. I hate the bar scene. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate that scene.
Where the guys are just randomly coming up and trying to fight him.
They're just fucking with him. Why?
It's if you think he's a psycho, why are you fucking with him? This is why we needed movies like Joker out, so people know not to fuck with people.
Right? I just I understood the lawyer's motivation. Like, I don't like you. I don't like the idea that you're back. I don't appreciate the fact that my girlfriend's calling you. It's been like 20 years, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Fine, I get it. Also, you'd like to think maybe he would make sense of why he was there, Adoy, but that's fine. I can let that pass. Jealousy is a thing. The fucking stupid drunk guy at the bar makes no sense to me. You can maybe operate under the fact that he's drunk. Sure. It's like, why?
Or you could show them as a kid too, like saying something.
I don't know. He's like, I heard you killed your mama. And it's like, dude, fuck off. Like, you don't give a shit. Like, why are we doing this?
Be like, I killed your mama last night in her pussy.
And then he like tackles him off the fucking bar. It's like, why? What are we doing? This is so fucking dumb. I don't care.
And it meant nothing. It literally meant nothing because it didn't come up anymore ever again.
No. It was just, it was literally just to set them up and put them in the woods. That's all that was for.
Yeah.
But then we get into the woods and that scene's fucking awesome. I love that scene. Like, it's the lawyer and then the cops are looking for him and I just liked it. I liked all that. And then the way that they have him in the jail cell. The tension is really high, and I like the idea that like the cops have to deal with it, and those were essentially just the two set up for the action scenes, just to freak people out and show what she's capable of.
Right.
And I just thought that was cool. And you're in the woods, and it's dark and creepy. It just preys on all the basic shit. And
So what about because they show how fast she moves.
yeah,
They show how fast she moves, especially in that scene alone. How is she not getting Kyle?
Yeah, that's kind of what I keep just throwing up the fact that he's always in the light or he's doing something, and he's hyper aware, so he's keeping stock of where he is and where the lights are.
He's
and
always
all that
like,
shit.
and then these flashlights that are supposed to keep her away, these like little dinky ones, and you're shining them in front of you. What about behind you?
Just all kinds of stuff. You do have to. There
It's
is a little
generic horror. I know I'm being
Yeah,
an ass
there's
because
a-
it's just
no,
generic
it's
horror
fine.
shit. But
Well,
like
no,
when they
but-
set the lore up for that, it's
Yeah.
kind of like okay, because
No, I got
even
you.
in like Nightmare on Elm Street, even if you just like close your eyes for half a second, you could be stuck in Freddy's world.
Yeah. Well,
so it's like
but also you're operating under the idea that you know how people say you could sleep for an hour, but it feels like you could have time pass like 3 days.
right.
That's part of his lore.
Yeah.
So I would give you that, and you could actually like, if you wanted to be a pretentious asshole, you could definitely read into like actual lore when it comes to real life studies of how your brain works. It's like, yeah, fuck, how many movies have dealt with that? The idea, like, I lived my 90 years of Star Trek. Fucking did it. Fucking Picard with the magic flute. You know, that idea. It's like, it's only been 3 hours, but I lived an entire lifetime.
They do it in the Nolan movie,
They do it in Inception. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Inception. Yeah.
So, I mean, there are studies that prove that, so that's how that works with the lore. I would say with the light thing, it's totally suspension of disbelief. Like,
Yeah.
just, you have your rules that you're operating on.
Because
and you just
I
have to
found
go
it
with
really annoying, especially when they were when he was in the holding cell. There was like barely
Yeah,
any
and the lights
light.
were starting to go out. Or even when they're in the car. That
Yeah.
was that's my biggest gripe is in the car. Like, why don't you have like the dome lights and shit on? You know what I mean? Like inside the car.
It's illegal.
Sure. And you make the argument, you know, they all have their flashlights, and it's actually a contentious point within the cars that they're trying to like reload their lamps and like,
Yeah.
whatever and do all that shit. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun.
And then let's jump around because I know we have.
No,
other
I'm just
stuff.
like, no, give me your gripes, because really
So
at the end of the day,
really the biggest thing was okay. So when they get to
the lighthouse is the dumbest part. It's
Yeah.
the fucking dumbest part in the
They
film.
really with the lighthouse. I was kind of like, okay, so how do her powers truly work? Because they turn the light on, boom, she's right there, and then she like blows up, kind of like they tried to do the witch scene in
I fucking hated it.
what was that movie with Matt Damon and Heath
Oh,
Ledger?
Brothers Grimm.
Brothers Grimm.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
It reminded me of that.
Oh, and again, I think that was the detriment of this film was when it got made. I bet you a remake with this would be fucking... James Wan doing a fucking remake of this would be amazing. Because, I mean, you're talking, look, Brothers Grimm came out then.
Yeah.
Van Helsing with, like, fucking Hugh Jackman was
Yeah.
around that time. Like, all those fucking weird movies were doing this weird, like, hyper, like, Guy Ritchie version of Aesop Fables and shit like that.
Yeah.
Of Grimm Fairy Tales.
But like my biggest thing was just like her power thing. Like what's her
yeah.
power? So like, cause
Here,
she does
let me-
that. She supposedly blows up, but then she comes back, and
Yeah.
the only way they actually get rid of her from what we see is
lighting her on fire and
taking
then
her
she-
mask off. Basically,
Yeah.
her mask being taken off, and then her being lit on fire in the light.
Which
and
I'm
all that
kind
shit.
of okay with, because it's like, I like the idea that maybe the mask like was like a relic. You know how ghosts
Yeah.
hold on to a relic?
Yeah.
So then the mask broke. So then when you then exposed her to her weakness, she died.
And then at the end, is she still around or is she not around? Because
I
you
assume she's gone.
you
Unless
hear
they
like
make a
the
sequel.
whoosh thing like
And the
they
expl-
did, but then yeah.
I'm operating under they won. It's over. But
They probably were waiting to see how well it did, and they were gonna make
exactly.
like
Yeah.
it was gonna be like Jeepers Creepers, if it does all right.
Exactly. Yeah. And but I totally get you with the like abilities of what she had, because I was always trying to figure out, does she operate as like an actual tangible being where she has to move around and operate? But then all of a sudden she like would like, it's almost like she would dissipate.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily true. She always flew off. Like,
right.
Fucking like, so I guess maybe she is just tangible. So
it always gets me when
when
they try to explain their powers or their lore.
Yeah.
But then you're still confused because it's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
In Jason, they don't fucking explain his shit ever.
Yeah. Or fucking Michael Myers. Michael Myers is the worst one. The most egregious. I would say
he just keeps coming back.
You do need a lot of suspension of disbelief to deal with like the light source stuff. But I think the lore and the world they build is really, really good. Again, it's one of those ones where I'm like, the scary aspect and the supernatural totally got me, and it still gets me now. And like when I talk about it, it freaks me out. Like a lot of times, I think the premise and the world they set up freaks me out more than the actual movie. But on a technical level, the movie does have a fuck ton of issues, but I love the story. I think the idea and the concept is like fucking perfect. And I am saying perfect. When it comes to horror, supernatural, I think this is a great, great twist on lore, on a basic general lore that everybody understands. The idea of the Tooth Fairy and being scared of the dark. It's fucking great premise. I love it. Yeah, I will absolutely say the ending's probably the weakest part. Kyle Reese, the protagonist, or Kyle Reese, that's fucking Terminator. Kyle, the fucking... Which I also said he looks like Kyle Reese from Terminator 1, which is why I keep assuming that. I love this film. I think as horror films go, I think it's really good. I really, really like it.
I'm kind of curious, and this is just a stupid Buffy thing, but with the chick who played Anya, I wonder if it would have been better if they would have switched her out for Julie Benz.
Ooh.
Because
in the show?
No, in that movie, in Darkness
movie?
Falls.
Oh,
because she can play like you've seen her act. She really does
Dexter,
like
baby.
yeah.
Or she was an angel. She played Darla.
And Buffy. She was in both.
I liked her. Well, yeah.
That's
I liked
what
her
I'm
as
saying.
Darla. I don't know, dude. I liked her as Darla.
I'm saying she should have been the girl in Darkness Falls, the sister, love interest, and whatever. Because I feel she would have given it a little more depth. But then, of course, she probably would have overshown the main actor by
I was about
billion.
to say, I'm like, you could recast a lot of people in this fucking film. I'm telling you, this is one that I'd like to see a remake. I think James Wan would do something fucking amazing with this. Because The Conjuring was great.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the Annabelle shit. We've tried a couple of those. They're so kind of weak sauce. But Conjuring is so solid that... I would love to see him tackle this, and I straight up reboot. I would love a reboot. Let me make a reboot. I would fucking love to remake this film.
Go do it.
I love this movie. Yeah,
Go do it.
I love this movie.
You can put Hannah in the cosplay for the chick.
As the witch.
Yeah,
it's the fucking witch. No, 100%. I go. Yes, there are technical stuff. There are going to be things you're going to have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a strong premise, maybe not executed extremely well, but I love the idea. The idea is so fantastic. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. Please go see it, and then tell me I'm retarded.
Don't go see this. Don't.
Go see it. It's fucking...
I mean, if you want to watch it, it's on Amazon Prime.
I do say... I was about to say free, but it is on... If you have Amazon Prime, it's on there. But dude, it's so fucking old at this point. You could probably find it on YouTube or on one of those like pirate sites, like IO Movies or whatever.
Or the dollar bin, because it's such
fun.
bad.
And it's short, dude. It's short. It's
an
only like an hour.
10. I designed a T-shirt while I was watching.
And I'm telling you, it's an easy watch. It's a very easy watch. It's shorter than fucking Unicorn Store. Which I still think is one of the most terrible movies I've ever seen.
All right. Let's move on.
We'll move on.
So I got one bit of news since it's Halloween time. This show is going to be airing on, a couple days ago actually. It came out October 25th.
No way.
On Netflix. It's a show by Gaten Matarazzo, whatever.
Hakuna Matata?
From
What?
Stranger Things.
Okay.
The dude that plays Dustin. The kid that plays Dustin. And it is a horror scare-based prank show for Netflix called Prank Encounters. I saw the trailer for it on YouTube. It looks pretty fun, so I'm going to try and check it out.
What was that one you were telling me about a while back? We made fun of it. It was another one of those it was like pseudo torture live action things on Netflix that they were doing.
Oh, Flinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
watch it randomly.
Is it any good?
It's
Is it
funny? Yeah.
Okay.
So
it seemed kind of dumb, but it looked kind of fun.
Speaking of dumb and fun,
What about
I heard
me?
you watch something.
So I do like the premise that we have right now is that I have a movie that I really love and you attempt to shit on it, which is fine, which it deserves. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it was a perfect film at all. I think the story was good. Oh man. So I finally watched something that you asked me to watch. And I promised I would, so I did. Let me tell you, first of all, I started it. Don't say the title yet. I started it. Got about 45 minutes in, maybe an hour, and I fucking turned it off. And then I go, okay, that's unfair. One, I appreciate the filmmaker and the actors and stuff, so I should give it a finish. And then I promised you I'd finish it, so I finished it. Fucking Christ, Michael, I hate you. Okay, walk the world through this, and we gotta do this because it's killing me right now.
Okay. What the fuck was that?
Well, the world will know when you finally fucking say it. Let's go. Where are you at? Give me
So
some-
John watched Tusk. Tusk. By Kevin Smith. Written and directed by Kevin Smith. Based on a podcast from Smodcast, I believe it was.
Yep.
Tusk is a 2014 American comedy horror written and directed by Kevin Smith based on a story from his Smodcast podcast.
And the best part about that is that you say that they put the fucking audio from the podcast of them being obviously stoned out of their minds.
Yeah.
Talking back and forth about it was literally just two fucking high dickheads talking about a goofy ass premise.
So
and it turned into a movie.
What it was is they found a wanted ad or some bullshit in the Canadian newspaper. And it was kind of like along the lines of the paper that Justin Long's character finds in the bathroom.
In the bathroom, yeah.
And they read it on their podcast, and then they started going into this depth of Silence of the Lambs type thing, or Human Centipede and all that bullshit.
Yeah, I would definitely go Human Centipede, not Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. No, I mean Silence of the Lambs is getting the people into the place and shit like that.
Sure. I just don't want Silence of the Lambs brought into this conversation. It's essentially where I'm going.
Human Centipede 1 is actually a well-made movie. Human Centipede.
God, I love how you struggled to say that, and also at the same time, I don't know about technically because I'm not gonna watch it, but
technically it's shot like indie horror almost. That with artsy stuff in it.
The fact that you're defending that, I think, is really gonna paint
The
where
second
this
one,
conversation is going
I
to go.
will tell you this: if you ever watch them, the second one,
I won't.
Don't even let Hannah watch the second
I'm
Human
not watching
Centipede
them.
movies.
Was the
It's
second one the
horrible.
one in the was the second one the one in the Thai prison, or was that like the third one?
That's the third one. That's like shot more. That's Grindhouse style, dude. That was fucking awesome.
God damn it!
If
dude.
you
I
love
don't-
Grindhouse
I can't.
stuff, you have to watch that one.
Yeah, that's
Um,
so not
But
my
so
shit.
here's I'm gonna go off task
Go
from
nuts.
Tusk
Go
for
nuts.
a second.
Go
So
nuts.
for Human Centipede, they shot and made that movie. It's great. And then Human Centipede 2 was all in black and white. And it was based around the fact that this guy watched the Human Centipede. So then he wanted to do his own. Instead of surgically doing these things, he was like stapling them and shit like that. And he even like kidnapped like an actress from the original movie and put her in the Human Centipede. And then, of course, made the thing longer and bigger. And that movie was horrible. It was horrible. I won't ever watch that one again because it's just the way they did it. Then the third one is based in the world where the first movie and second movie are real things. And they were this guy, what's the guy that runs a prison? The warden was doing that shit to like get people in order and like, you know, to conserve food and all that other bullshit. Would just go through the line, and he did like the whole fucking thing. It was awesome. Oh my god, I want to go watch that one again now. Thank you.
Michael, my brain. No.
But no, the first one was the only one that was like legit. Like, you know, the guy was a doctor. He was scientific. He showed like the things kind of like they do in
He's
Tusk
just crazy and
stuff.
wanted to do a thing.
Yeah, he was trying to do
And so
evolution and
did
shit.
Human Centipede come out before Tusk, or did Tusk then
Human Centipede was out before Tusk.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Human Centipede was like 2009, I think, or some shit like that. Yeah, 2009. The first sequence, the second sequence, and the third sequence. Yeah, if you just look at the Human Centipede poster art, you see a long line of people, and they're all put together.
God damn.
Anyways, you watched Tusk finally. I'm surprised.
fucking
Like it's been 5 years since the movie came out, and you have never watched it.
Yeah. It was one of those things where, like I said, I watched Red State and I didn't like it.
I think you
watched
should
it-
go back and rewatch Red
And
State.
I'm going to now, because I really like John Goodman.
Yeah.
And obviously I love Kevin Smith. I really, really do. I think his universe stuff is my favorite shit. Clerks 2 was the one that missed me a little bit, but I've gone back and watched it recently and I enjoy it.
Dude, Michael Park's performance in Red State is fucking awesome.
Oh, don't get me wrong. And this is going to be a trend with this conversation. On a technical level, Tusk is fucking brilliant. The cinematography is so on point. Like, and I think that's a lot to do with. I don't know who their cinematographer was. I really should go back and give him the credit that credit is due. But Kevin Smith does have that old school flair. He knows how to run a camera. Granted, I get that like a lot of his films tend to be stationary, but he knows how to composite a shot. And
Cinematography is done by James Langston.
okay, he's fucking. I don't know what else he's done, but fucking Christ, this movie looks fantastic.
I think he did. Well, I know he did the Yoga Hosers as well with Smith, I believe.
Well, I'm just curious what he's done outside of the universe.
Moonlight,
Okay, yeah.
Camp X-Ray. I'm not sure what that is.
I don't think I've seen that.
He did some Doritos commercial, the Black Jacket documentary, Garfunkel and Oates TV special.
Ooh, I love that. I actually like Garfunkel and Oates. If you've never seen that, it's good shit.
He did some Bernie Sanders stuff.
Oh, so he's not actually particularly well known. That's kind of sad. Because honestly,
like the biggest thing he's done.
Honestly, you turn the fucking audio off on this film, it's fucking beautiful. Like, I think it's really shot well. There are a couple of scenes where obviously they're shot a little cheap, but I think they did it on purpose. Like when well, I mean, I guess you know this film really, really well. You've seen it a bunch. Do you want
Actually, I've only seen it twice.
That's it?
I watched
Really?
it the first time. The first time I watched it was around the time it came out with Nick, and she never wanted to watch it again. So
Same.
it's
Same.
been hard to watch it again.
Fucking same.
So then the other day, I turned it on, watched it because everyone else was in bed and shit. So I was like, why not?
And your post that you made in the group was, I don't understand why this gets so much hate. Michael, I would be more than happy to let you know why this film gets so much hate.
As somebody who is now doing a podcast, and you start a movie out and the opening is with two douchebags like us doing a podcast. Come on.
Let me tell you, and I appreciate you as a fan of watching films, how good you are at putting yourself in the shoes of these characters. Because this is the same problem we had with Unicorn Store. That film is a piece of shit. It is one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Just so the whole world knows, I'm pansexual when it comes to the movie going experience.
Calm down, Lando. All right, Mr. Calrissian, can we not do this? I get it, and I totally understand, because I even told Hannah, I go, and I feel so bad. I did kind of talk a little bit of shit about you after watching this film, because I was mad at you that I was watching this movie. I literally hate this movie so much that I was mad at you.
I kind of want to know what you said. You should have recorded that shit.
I know. I really wish I had. I told Hannah, I go, this is why. I go, 100% Michael sees himself as Justin Long. 100%. That is why he loves this film. Not only do you gravitate to the idea, because we do the podcast, so we're literally putting you in the shoes of these characters.
Now, I will say this. Here.
And you have a hot Hispanic girlfriend / wife, sorry, in real life wife in the movie. So you kind of feel like you're kind of a douchebag, but at the same time, you're like, no, I'm a lovable douchebag and people like me and I have friends and I have a hot wife, so suck it. And like, you're this guy who wants to go out and do this thing and he's doing it. And
the
then,
fact that
bam.
you read into that much, because
Yes.
I didn't even think that. Because I liked this movie before we started podcasting.
But as you said, but the podcasting thing is just another way of putting yourself in as an artist.
Because I totally forgot
A man
that they
of
were
media.
a podcast when I returned the movie on. I was like, oh shit, that's right.
But that's why I'm saying the
and I was
second
like,
time
it looks
around.
like me and John. No.
But that's why the post, because I'm the fat one and it sucks. I'm
You
the
see
Haley
dead
Joel
people.
Osment. Fuck, I'm so Haley Joel Osment, it's insane. I swear to God, I'll never bang your wife. Because she'd fucking stab me anyway. And I don't like Mexican
Damn, that's
chicks.
a fucking Mexican joke right there.
Well, I'm a half breed.
That doesn't mean you can say that.
Am I only allowed to tell half the joke? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Let's also be fair. I'm not into. Okay, that's a lie. They have to. No. Okay, no, I'm done. I'm gonna. Nope.
I make that joke all the time. I was like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you gonna do? Stab me?
Yeah, fucking Christ. Deport me? You stab me, I'll deport you. So
Try having two
so
little
I get
Mexican
it.
kids too, dude.
Dude, you have the artist thing. You can't help yourself. You like it. And at the same time, also, it's like, he totally has your personality. I like that. Like, you're a little abrasive, but you are lovable and you're not a bad person. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
John's saying that I like bad movies, I guess.
well, yeah, but
I do.
But you
I
like good
love
movies
bad
too.
movies and good movies.
And there's nothing fucking wrong with that. Again,
It's not
I
like
can't-
we're coming off of like the Joker and me being like, I fucking hated the Joker.
What a piece of
and
shit.
I
Yeah.
love Tusk.
It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, and also, like I said, it's the idea of like, guys, I'm not fucking memeing here. I will if you put X-Men Origins Wolverine on or Batman and Robin on, I will watch the whole film because I enjoy it. I understand it's a fucking pile of garbage, but it makes me giggle.
But it's also one of those movies you can watch more often than something like a Joker, too.
Yes. Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. It's like, I'm not turning on Remember the Titans and fucking Pursuit of Happiness every day because I fucking don't want to kill myself every time I watch a film. And this film, though, I fucking hate it. I fucking cannot stand it. And I think A lot of it's on the execution. Because, fine, oh my God. Okay, so the idea is that Justin Long has a podcast with Haley Joel Osment. And they're the Nazi party.
Yeah.
They call it the Nazi party.
Not
C. N-O-T-S-E-E.
Like the one guy
and they
doesn't
literally
see.
do it. And they literally do it in the film multiple times because people do make the distinction and they want
Which is really interesting because I didn't think about because I hadn't remembered Tusk when I watched Yoga Hosers. Kevin Smith is obsessed with Nazis in some sort of way, dude.
Look, to be fair,
making fun of them, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say they're the easiest targets. Why do you put them in fucking video games, or why are you making Inglourious Bastards and shit like that? It's because you can use Nazis as cannon fodder and nobody's gonna care. So I get it, but they're doing it to be offensive, but like ironic, and I get it. That's them to a T, or at least the whole point is that's who Justin Long's character is supposed to be. He's supposed to be brash and ironic and a little bit uncouth, but he's not necessarily a bad person.
Right.
But the problem is they paint him to be a bad person.
Yeah.
And and it doesn't work. It does not work for this film because this film is essentially Human Centipede. And when you are doing something so monstrous and terrible to a character, I didn't give a fuck what was happening to him. I didn't give a fuck what was happening to him.
Once like they don't really show because they do it in flashbacks to show how much of a dick he was.
And they do it at the worst times.
And they do it at the times where you see him going into the transformation of being tortured and shit like that.
He's already being mutilated and having these horrible things happen to him. And then as it happens, then the bad thing happens. And then they reveal another piece of his personality or a flashback. That it's just like, it's almost like the movie's trying to justify what's happening to him. And I don't like it. It makes me... I don't like it.
The only time, honestly, I could have lived without all the flashback stuff.
Yes.
Except until the end of the movie when they did the flashback of her telling, my dad said, crying is what separates us from the animals. Because then he drops a tear afterwards.
What a fucking stupid line. And you bought into that shit so hard.
I'm not saying
I couldn't
bought
believe
into it, but
yes,
it's like
you
understand what he's trying to say.
It's so wrong, though. The message doesn't even apply. It's
and
so
animals
dumb.
do cry, just so people do know.
That's what I'm saying. You literally see videos of dogs fucking breaking down because their owners die. It's insane. This is absurd. It makes if anything, animals have more primal emotions than we do. They are built on specifically emotions. We actually have cognitive thought to keep ourselves from being insane with our emotions that drive us.
Yeah.
If anything, the fucking thing is backwards.
So, okay,
besides
one of the special effects makeup coordinators' last names is Tuska's.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
For this movie.
And also, the walrus suit looks like fucking trash.
It does.
Oh my Lord.
It does.
Oh my
they
Lord.
had that, I believe the walrus suit was done by the same people who do his costume in Yoga Hosers.
Okay.
Because I know you haven't seen that yet. You should watch that. That one is just pure fun. That one's just fun.
I'll watch it. Because that's the one where there's little CGI
sausage
goofy
guys
shit running around.
They're not CG.
They're actual people on
It's
a green
Kevin
screen?
Smith in the suit.
Oh, okay, fun. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna check it out because again, I'm going to do it because it's Kevin Smith, and I'm gonna check. And again, now the fact that you said Red State, I hate this fucking film so much.
So
superficial.
Here's one
with
of the things
shooting.
I love about this movie.
Okay.
Besides the cinematography, because you already just discussed that. I like how
It's
it was
so
shot.
beautiful. It's shot so, and the
and I
acting is
think
superb.
My biggest thing that I love, because Kevin Smith does dialogue,
I really do like his overindulging.
other people doesn't do. Yeah.
It's essentially pretentious, but I've even told people I've learned a lot of words because of him. And it's just overindulgent dialogue is one of those things that I expect from his
Right.
films, and that's what I want. The problem is with this one, he started to try and do like a philosophy on top of it, and that did not fit with what was happening.
Well, I would
and it
say
came
this
off up
is
his ass.
this is probably also one of the first movies he did. I'm trying to think when he did, because he didn't actually.
Red State was first, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Red State was first. I'm saying like one of the first movies he did where after he was like really getting into pot and all that shit. Because he actually didn't smoke pot until he worked with Rogan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
didn't know
he
that.
went
And Zack
into
and
it, and
Miri?
and Zack and Miri, because he went into it before about how Seth Rogen wanted to smoke with him and shit. He's like, I've never smoked, and he's like, but I'm not gonna fucking say no to Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah.
So,
Especially when that's your persona too. Like,
Yeah.
you made the persona, but you don't actually do it.
you know how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
people became potheads because of your persona?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so I love, again, because I said with Red State, like Michael Parks' dialogue that he always had, especially when he did the speeches in Red State.
Oh yeah.
Fucking almost everything that Michael Parks says, especially when he starts going into his like background story of like telling about when he was a boy and on the ship.
And I did
all
like that.
stuff.
I like that stuff.
I
Yeah.
love it so much, which I think gives, because every time I see the suit, I'm just like, this is fucking retarded.
Please
but
stop. Yeah.
because there's a lot of stupid shit in it, but I'm just like, I let it go because I'm like, okay, this part right here is fucking awesome. Or when he realizes what's going on, when Justin Long's character Wallace realizes what's going on, and he's screaming, and then you just see Michael Parks, and again it's with cinematography
like, yelling
too,
back
and
at
he's
him,
like
too.
yelling back and shit. I'm like, this is brilliant. But then I'm confused later. And this is something I have an issue with.
The movie completely turns.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Once he actually gets him in the suit.
The reveal. Once
And
you see the
that's
reveal, you're like, oh my
completely-
God.
it's a complete
The movie
change.
dies. The movie dies
Yeah.
at that point. The movie's done. Like, for me, I'm like, we've done the reveal. Movie's over.
Yeah.
I fucking hate this. And now anything after that is just making
And then, of
me
course,
hate it
that's
more.
when like Johnny Depp's character gets introduced and shit.
Oh
like
my
that.
God! What a fucking
Technically-
waste of time.
Technically,
Oh my
too,
God.
I'll say this, which is really kind of interesting. Guy Lapointe, Johnny Depp's character,
Yeah.
he is credited as Guy Lapointe.
Yeah. Well, because I wouldn't put my name on this shit.
Well,
either,
it shows
but-
up on IMDb as Johnny Depp.
Well, duh.
That's the
Who
only
cares
place.
now?
It just says
But,
as Guy Lapointe. I was like, okay. And I think even in Yoga Hosers, he's credited as that too, because he plays
I could
the same
see him
character.
being fun. Like, his character would work in a fun film.
Mm-hmm.
He's fucking annoying as dicks in this, and it's already. And again, he's introduced after pretty much when the film dies.
Yeah.
So it just makes everything worse. And I don't understand the motivation of the friend and the girlfriend. I don't understand what's happening with anyone. And the only thing I can say though is a credit to Kevin Smith. He's always been an actor's director. He is so fucking good. And I don't know if this is a point to the actors that he casts, or if Kevin Smith is just that good at getting these performances. Justin Long is fucking brilliant in this film.
I mean, Justin Long has been a good actor.
Yeah, the girlfriend might be the weakest actress in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, well, the kids, it's obvious, but whatever. Who are they were supposed to be? You know, they're just the clerks, the two.
Harley Quinn.
His
and,
daughter,
Rose.
and yeah.
His and
but,
Johnny Depp's daughter.
You know, who are they fucking supposed to be? They're just kids, so whatever. So I'm not even like, I don't care about their performances, but everybody else in this film is fucking phenomenal, dude. Like. When Justin Long's like on the phone, trying to talk to his girlfriend, like, come help me, fucking so brilliant. It's shot well, it's acted well. Yeah. These are really good performances, and again, the cinematography is insane. The set dressing is beautiful.
I'll
Fuck
say
this movie,
this.
though.
I'll say this. One of the bigger issues with it, from me anyways, is the way it's edited.
Oh, it's awful.
And that's another thing with because Kevin Smith edits all of his stuff, and you can always tell that he doesn't send it out to an editing house or anything like that.
Yeah.
and I'm not sure because I'm not gonna like rip on the dude because he's probably edits better than me anyways. But still,
Yeah.
I'm like he should try and send off the footage to somewhere else and see if he gets a better cut somewhere.
Or even just like screen it to somebody who's not your fucking friend.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and like and screening it to Johnny Depp doesn't count because his daughter and him are both in the movie. So
That's what I'm saying.
You know, screen it to a wider audience. Screening it to Tarantino. Tarantino's gonna love it just because of the monster at the end.
Or go do a fucking Q&A, and then big surprise, you show it to a few. You know, let us select all your VIP tickets. Let them sit and they watch it, and then you take their reactions.
Yeah.
Boom, done. Because I'm a huge fan of him, and I fucking hate this. I think it's. I was literally angry that I had to finish it. Again, I'll just go on a technical aspect. It was perfectly fine. If anything, it's actually above average with the cinematography, with the set dressing. The costume's fucking dumb.
Oh, honestly, all of his cinematography with like this Red State
looked fine too.
looked great. Yoga Hosers is kind of about the same as Tusk.
Okay.
It's the same dude that did the Tusk.
Oh, okay.
So, it's just more like childish. It's not like
again,
darker.
The editing is insane. The way you portray your character makes me want this to happen to him, or not even necessarily want, but like it's happening to him, and you're like, oh, bummer. You know what I mean? It's just, I just hate this film. I really do. I hate everything about it. Or not everything. Obviously, I've already said the things I like, but it's just I literally had to go on and make my second review ever on Rotten Tomatoes. I hated it so much. I go legitimately. I never want to watch this again.
Did you bitch?
Ever.
Did you be like my fucking podcast partner was like?
God, if only. No, I was nice. I go, it's above average on a technical level, but I hate everything about this when it comes to the story and the way it was edited.
I'm
It was
curious what its Rotten Tomato review is. It's actually not that low. Audience.
You think it'd be low?
Well, I mean,
It's pretty low, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Batwoman low, but it's low.
it's 36 by audience, 45 on the tomato meter.
Which I think it's under average, so I'll take it. If I had to put a number on it, I would say about 35%.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not terrible. Well, it's terrible, but it's like you have the cinematography going for it. You have the really good performances going for it. But I mean, just it's so hard to get through. I was literally angry watching this movie. I was just like, I hate this. I don't want to finish it. I want to be done. And it's not even particularly scary. It's not particularly tension filled. I don't know what this was going for. It missed me on all marks. I don't know.
Here's a fun review because it could be taken in multiple ways.
Yeah.
It says Smith has created a film that is genuinely horrific. I'm like, you could take that in any way, but then they gave it like a B-.
See, and it's so weird because a lot of times I always laugh because like the rating they give does not match what they said.
Yeah.
I always kind of like, and it tends to skew like towards I'm gonna give it a positive arrow or a positive star because I want to be nice, but then I'm gonna say like some really mean shit about it, and it's just like.
So let's dive into the ending because
Okay.
I have some issues with the ending.
Okay.
One, like I already brought up the whole animal cry thing bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I get what he was trying to say in it, but it doesn't really make sense. My thing is, the guy is in a fucking suit.
Yeah.
Why are we leaving him in a walrus suit?
I couldn't believe it.
Take him out of the basement thing. Cut the fucking suit off of him because he still has stubs and hands. He
Okay.
still has his arms. He just doesn't have his legs and no tongue.
Gotcha.
From what the movie was saying and shit like that, because Johnny Depp's character was giving the exposition on how all the bodies shown up, So I'm just like, but then I'm so that was like one of my biggest things. I was like, why are we leaving him in a zoo? Like, yeah, it's kind of like a weird, fucked up ending. Yeah,
it would have helped.
Get it
would have
but-
helped if they would have done the shotgun blast and cut to black and then ended the film.
Yeah.
Like, they should have done that.
Yeah. And then the other issue was, so when he gets pulled into the water the first time, you see a bunch of other walrus guys there in the suits. And I'm wondering, one, why didn't the guy just take the suits off of those bodies so he didn't have to remake it? And
Well, 'cause
then
he's bored.
two, Johnny Depp's character in his exposition of everything is saying that they found these bodies just thrown around with the tusk things, like the
Yeah.
bone things going through their, or the holes, I should say, not the tusks,
Yeah.
but the holes. So it's like, where did those bodies come from if all these
Yeah.
people are still in the water here? And not only
Yeah.
that, like the guy's moving around from house to house too.
Well, I think they're trying to play that see, that part I didn't get. I was like, he's got a really nice house and it's lived in, and it's like he's too old to be moving locations that frequently. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Considering that the rate he was supposedly doing this.
Right. And with how many, of course, with how many bodies, again, were in the water, it's kind of like.
So, okay, so I went on, I found my review. I had to go find my review.
Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes. This was from 3 days ago.
Okay.
So I didn't realize I finished it that soon. All right, 2 stars. I gave it 2. I didn't feel the need to give it 1 because, again, I like the technical shit.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. As a longtime fan of Kevin Smith, this is easily the worst film he's ever created. In parentheses, including Cop Out and Red State. This premise is insane, but it's Kevin, so let's roll with it. The acting is pretty spot on, either because Kevin has always been a good actor's director and possibly just from the talent of the cast. On a technical level, the film is above average, beautiful cinematography, and well thought out locations. Other basic filmmaking techniques shine. But the characters aren't that fun to watch. The monster reveal is laughable, and everything just feels too cringe and deranged to even get a chance to enjoy anything. I regret watching this, and I hope to never have to again.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here, because then there's only one after you. It's strange and a bit gross, but Kevin Smith really gives us a unique story, unlike any other. That's what came right after yours.
Wow.
Here's one right before yours. I could not finish this movie. Horrible premises, just a gross, pointless movie. The one before that, bad, 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 just bad.
Nailed it. Fucking nailed it.
The one before that is a lot longer, but the first sentence is literally the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
Oh,
I don't think so. I've seen some really
I've seen
dumb
dumber.
movies.
I've seen much dumber.
2-word review. Fucking ridiculous. But they misspelled ridiculous.
Oh, man, come on. You got autocorrect, my man. Come on.
Spelled it red. Iculous.
Oh, my no. I like to think that my review was fair. I'd like to think. Oh, man, it was hard. It was hard to get through. Michael, I'm actually a little mad at you that I had to watch
I'm kind of
it.
curious of what you fucking said about me. This fucking dude.
No, it's literally what I said. I go, I think he really liked this one because I think he likes Kevin Smith, so he's gonna give him a pass. And I think you put yourself in that character, like you were able to relate with a lot of stuff that was going on.
I didn't though. That's the thing. At least openly, I didn't see that.
Because you gotta understand, it's strange that you would say I identified with Unicorn Store because of the artist stuff and blah blah blah, and I go, the guy literally opens up on us being dicks on a podcast, and you just happen to watch it because the first watch, I'm not saying that. The second time, I'm saying that.
Right.
Why you're saying I don't get why it gets so much hate. I go, well, you're obviously, I have to go off of your feelings based on you watching it in the last week or whatever.
Right.
I go, of course you're going to be like immediately drawn in because you're seeing parallels, literal parallels into the characters, or at least in what we're doing. Then obviously once it gets off the rails, you kind of deal with it. But all of the actual like Justin Long, his day-to-day stuff, you absolutely, I have no problem believing that you could relate with that, and that's going to keep you going. And then you're just like, wow, then it's just goofy B movie bullshit that I like. So I'll give it a pass. And that's what I said. It's not like I was going like, fucking Michael.
I
fucking
honestly
retard.
love anything Michael Parks has been in since he's passed away now. So
I think he was Kevin Smith's Gary Oldman. The guy was great. That's why in Red State I totally bought it. I'll go back and I'll give it another run. I just didn't like the film, but like him playing like that West Baptist Church guy who could give a speech and ignite people's emotions and stuff. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, fucking absolutely. The guy was great. He's absolutely.
I think Kevin Smith
phenomenal
did that movie just so that he could put a bullet in his wife's head.
Fucking Christ. Wow, hot take.
Yeah, so that was Tusk. I really think that
Tusk.
you should watch Yoga Hosers now, though.
I'll give it a try.
It'll be
I
a
mean, why not?
completely different tone shift. It's all fun, all campy. There's some really fucked up stuff in Yoga Hosers for them to say that it's a kids movie because it's PG-13. But I'm like I tried to watch it with the kids one day, and just the opening scene, there's something, and it scared them. So I was like, all right, we're gonna turn this off. But like then I started remembering, because I haven't watched it since the first time again, but I started remembering, oh yeah, there's this, and this in here. These probably aren't like,
and you're like,
kid
I probably should have
elements.
done this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take
Okay.
another roll at that, and if you watch it, then we can talk about it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I have your account now on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm gonna.
Woo! I started it because
mark this.
Batwoman pissed me off so fucking much that I had to make an account.
It doesn't show anything for Batwoman on your. Oh, there it is. TV ratings.
And that was the one that got put on that YouTube video that I
Yeah.
was like super pumped about. I kind of nerd bonered for a minute.
I might have to create an account on here.
It's
just
fun.
just to go against everything you say. Be like,
Right?
nah, fuck
Just
that shit.
literally like find mine and then like reply underneath. Because I'm definitely leaving one for Joker, and I might actually I might start doing it just for funsies. Even though fucking who cares? Like who the hell am I? But at the end of the day, it's fun.
Who cares? It's Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, and the other thing, I'm just kind of like, you read a lot of those comments, and I hate how just one-dimensional or like. It's like, say something about the film. Don't just say, oh, I hated it. Like, fucking Christ. Like, come on.
Like the guy who said bad, really
right?
bad.
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate that some of those exist, but it's just kind of like, oh, man, I wish they didn't,
Those are like the one-liner
one.
ones that they show on like, the late night shows or something.
Yeah, which is, it's funny. But like, with every film, there has to be something good in it.
Yeah.
And I go, if all you can talk about is how bad it is, then it's like you weren't giving it a try. And that's the hard part, is like learning how to do both. Because it is, the podcast is for me to go, this is fucking shit, and this was shit, and shit. And then I go, but I still try to give examples at least. Because if you give examples, at least the person outside listening to you has some kind of like meter.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, I don't trust anything he says, or he's fucking always hates this. And okay, well, we obviously don't share the same opinion. So, given his examples and blah, 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 I'm going to go completely polar opposite to what he says. And that works.
Right.
I think that's just as valuable. I think it's just as valuable as somebody you listen to and you go, 100%. This guy said it's good. I'm going to go see it. Now I'm going to make my own opinion after I see it. But if this guy that I really, really like says it's awesome, I should go see it. And then this guy that I can't stand says this is absolute shit, I go, oh, perfect. Ringing endorsement from both sides. I was like, great. It works perfect. And then I go and make my own opinion. But if, even if the guy who says I fucking hate it with everything in my soul and doesn't give examples, I go, oh, well then did he even watch it? I have no idea.
Right. That's why I made sure I watched Darkness Falls, so I could be like,
right?
State specific things, so you knew I actually watched it.
And then that's why I rewatched
fuck
it, because I was ready. Well, and again, it was nice to go into that movie trying to rip it apart, because I prefer, like, I obviously look on it with very rose-colored glasses. So going into it knowing that you hate it, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna rip this apart and do my best, and that way, it helps with integrity.
I wish I could just like watch it and just rip it apart easily. Like, I like to watch it and just like enjoy it as it is.
I do both. See, and my thing is I think everybody is so quick to go, oh, well, you only care about ripping it apart. And you're
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm not. It's like a lot of times I don't go into I'm going into a movie enjoying it, and then it does something that completely fucks everything. You know, like I cannot stress enough that I loved Black Panther in the theater, and when I left, I was telling everybody it's so great, and I bought it. I bought it the minute it came out. The minute I could get it, I bought it. And I showed it to people, and after I showed it to 2 people and everybody kept falling asleep, I go, I don't think this is very good. So I went back and watched it again. I go, wow, this is not very good. And then reviews really started coming out, and I was like, oh man, this is bad.
Just
This is really bad.
remember barf.
Right. Like to be fair, Far From Home I didn't really like all that much in theaters, and it's mostly because I really, really liked Homecoming. So maybe the bar was, and I mean,
high.
and Endgame. Fuck, I hated Endgame. I
Yeah.
fucking hated it.
You're probably
so
looking
much-
for something to fix that.
I was hoping for it. I was hoping like, okay, Spider-Man, please, like, you know, address Endgame, but then please be your own thing, because I hate Endgame.
Which it really wasn't its own. It wasn't its
tried.
own Spider-Man story.
Yeah,
Because
it
his
tried, but it
villain was
couldn't.
still not really. I don't know how they took a Spider-Man villain and turned it into not a Spider-Man villain.
It felt weird. I don't know. I mean, like, they held true to the whole, like, you know, granted, Mysterio was more like a stuntman special effects guy in the thing. but
It
I don't give a
depended on
shit
which
about that.
iteration you did, because he was
Yeah.
stuntman, special effects, he was a thespian, and all this other
But I'm at the
bullshit,
point
so-
where it's like, you know, they held true to the basic fundamentals of him, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, you made a problem that I liked him as a hero better than a villain.
Yeah.
And you showed me what was good, and then you immediately showed me what was bad.
But as a
and it's
hero,
like,
he couldn't do anything.
you know, and that just opens up the fact that his plan was fucking dumb. There was no
Yeah.
end game. Sorry for the fucking. I didn't mean to do that. There was no goal. There was no end goal for him that made sense. So it was a fucking terrible film. But
All right.
happy Halloween, bitches. So yeah. So consensus is for me: go watch Darkness Falls, fuck Tusk, and go watch scary movies. Scary
No,
movies are
no,
fine.
no. Go
And don't
watch
watch-
Tusk
And don't watch Human
and go
Centipede.
fuck your spouse. There you go. Go
Fuck your
watch
spouse.
Human Centipede. Go watch Human
No.
Centipede. Yes.
Oh no. Oh man. No. Oh no.
Oh, boy, John.
That's all I got. Are you trying to give me a quote right now? I'm scared.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm terrified. Spooky. Oh no. Ooh.
All right. From Howard Howe.
Oh fuck.
The walrus is far more evolved than any man I've ever known, present company included.
Oh man. Later, nerds. Spooky. Oh man.
You just finished another great episode of Operation Babble. You can catch every episode of Operation Babble on all your audio streaming services, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and more. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Operation Babble, and join the conversation today by searching for the Operation Babble group on Facebook. Links also in the description. Don't forget to find Myke on all social platforms, including YouTube, by searching Myke Shrews, MYKESHREWS. You can find John on Instagram and YouTube via Bald Man Bad. Thanks and have a great day.